The agency warns families are reaching their limit as civilians face killings, abductions, sexual violence, and forced child recruitment.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. The leaders of the UK and India hailed a new chapter in economic ties as British Prime Minister Keir Starmer wrapped up a 2-day visit to Mumbai, where he met his counterpart Narendra Modi for bilateral talks. The two countries announced plans to strengthen their investment, defense, and technology ties after signing a landmark trade agreement in July. FSN's Rebecca Bunden reports from Mumbai.
Keir Starmer brought with him more than 100 leaders of businesses, entrepreneurs, cultural institutions and universities. So this just goes to show how significant this is as the two countries really look to capitalise on that trade agreement. And they did make a number of announcements. This includes a major defence deal, with Britain saying that it has signed a contract for the Indian Army to purchase or to be supplied with lightweight missiles from the UK. This is a contract that's worth some $468 million. There were also agreements announced in terms of technology.
France's prime minister resigned after just 1 month in office. Sébastien Lecornu handed in his notice on Monday to the president. He was appointed to the position on the 9th of September after the previous premier was ousted by Parliament. For the latest on the deepening political crisis in France, here's Ross Cullen in Paris.
France has been plunged again into political uncertainty with the shock resignation of Sébastien Lecornu. Under the threat of yet another no-confidence vote, he submitted his resignation to the President Emmanuel Macron, who accepted it. The president must now either appoint his third Prime Minister of the year or call new snap elections or himself step down.
But the saga didn't end there. On Friday, in a risky move, President Macron reappointed Lecornu as the Prime Minister. Those were some of the week's top stories. Ira Spitzer reporting.
Today's fitness trackers can tell how far you're running, but tomorrow's can tell you why you're running. The new Nike Run Logic Plus pinpoints the desperate psychological demons at the root of your exercise routine. Tech Trends reporter Aaron Vaughn has more.
It's a problem all runners face. You run and you run and you run, but it's never enough. No matter how many miles you put in, that gnawing ache at your soul never goes away. Now Nike's engineers have found a way for runners to use that existential pain to push themselves even farther. Users keep the device on their wrist at all times. It not only records running times and distances, it also analyzes all of the user's social interactions and emotional patterns. It then creates a unique, detailed profile that dredges the inspiring well of inner turmoil inside every runner. Early users say they notice a big impact on their workout.
I started marathoning when I was 28. I thought it was time to get in shape, but then once I realized I was actually running from my meaningless job in ad sales, I started running a lot more, like all the time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160 is the phone number. Please call in with whatever's on your mind. I see that you guys on the last show, Angelo and Riley, got to talk to Uber George, and that's really fun. Wish he'd call in when I was on.
Hopefully he does.
That number is 603-283-6160 to bring up whatever's on your mind. Free Talk Live is a great place for you to plug whatever creative endeavor you're doing, for you to tell us some story. You'd maybe even be anonymous and tell us some story that you would never tell anyone, and by that I mean tell us your scary stories.
It is the Halloween season, so if you have a fun ghost story.
It is Spooktober, spooky season.
It is. Tell us
effect.
anything spooky that's ever happened to you.
Spook Talk Live.
Doesn't even have to just be ghosty. It can be cryptidy.
Bigfoot, aliens.
Anything
UFOs.
like that. We want to hear it.
Men in Black, strangers.
There's so many people that just
CIA.
have something like that happen to them, and they're like, I'm never telling anyone. But you could tell us on Free Talk Live if you call in and say you want to be anonymous.
Well, I feel like a lot of those folks, they feel like they're going to face stigma for sure.
Yeah.
Like imagine being like a straight lace, like you're an accountant and you're like some middle-aged accountant man, and you have something crazy happen to you, and you go to your cookie cutter wife and be like, hey, here's like the most schizophrenic sentence you've ever heard.
I'm never gonna relate to somebody not being able to tell like their spouse. I'm like, why did you marry that person? But I do understand, like, if you're like a logger in Alaska and you're like, no, bro, I actually didn't knock down those logs last night. I saw who did it, and it was Bigfoot. Like, there's so many reasons you actually wouldn't be able to tell people, and I get that.
I mean, just like that would just freak, like, I don't know, like you're trying to protect them all. Like you have like you're breaking, like you've never, like you're just a run of a mill, like normal, a FUD dude who goes to like his little office job, and he's just,
that is a good point.
Totally
like not
materialist, no spirituality, like just doesn't. He thinks the world is as it is.
Or if you're like Christian enough that you think it's all demons.
Yeah,
and
like
stuff.
he's just like a normie dude, like the most normal guy you could think of. Have something so inexplicable happen to him.
I
he
can
thinks
understand
it's better to just not
a
talk
little
about it.
That you don't want somebody to think like you're actually losing your mind.
Yeah,
but I also just I cannot relate, and will just never wish that upon anyone I like. That if something crazy happens to you, you can't talk to your own spouse about it. And there's so many scary stories where I hear somebody like, and then my spouse or the person that was with me said, we're never talking about this again. And it hurts them. Like if you experience something with someone.
Oh, yeah.
And then they have no one to talk to because you're like, don't talk about it again. That's awful. That's so awful. But anyways, I'm bringing it all up to say it's a safe space here. Like you could do it anonymously. And I absolutely 100% believe in the paranormal. It's not just like a funny thing or something like that to me. So
I don't know about you, Angela, but I know Bonnie and I have. I don't know about you, Bonnie, but maybe you have. But maybe you've listened to Coast to Coast. I know you're familiar with the show.
Yes.
Angela, are you familiar with Coast to Coast AM?
I know what it is because of Joe Rogan.
Okay. Oh, wow. All right.
Because he references it. That was kind of his inspiration to do his show too. Was like Coast to Coast. Like you just let people come on and say whatever.
I never heard Art Bell do it. It was always George Norrie.
Yeah, George Norrie.
So I guess I'm just younger.
George Norrie was pretty good. Is pretty good. He's still alive. I hear him from time to time, but he's not as good as Art Bell. Art Bell seemed to make the show.
Well, don't you think it's probably like nostalgia? Like you just loved Art Bell in those times, and like I'm not saying you're wrong or something. I'm just wondering.
You know, it's entirely possible that I'm nostalgic for Art Bell, and unfortunately, he's gone.
Well, I think also eventually it all becomes controlled opposition at some level.
I also
like if you get too big and
ones.
you have to like, you literally let anybody call in and talk about whatever. Eventually, somebody's probably going to come into your office and be like, "Hey."
I don't really know if I believe is Coast to Coast like Free Talk Live, where literally anyone can call in and they don't get screened out.
Not really anymore. I mean, they have guests and things. I know back on Art Bell's day, he did unscreened calls a lot.
Yeah, so it was really just like unscreened. Anybody could call. Like, eventually somebody's going to come in, sit you down, and be like, "Hey, buddy, we can't have you doing this anymore."
Yeah, they got really, really big and everything too. I don't know that I think that they're like a controlled opposition, because enough people just write it all off. If you even are trying to be serious and then you go on Coast to Coast and you don't say anything ridiculous, people will still be like, oh, it's like this person that's on Coast to Coast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of think that they, quote unquote, don't have to. There's already a natural way people are that they're going to write that off so easily.
Well, and that comes back from like the term conspiracy theory not being a thing until the 60s.
Yes, that's the most like successful little tiny psyop they've ever done, in my opinion.
Tiny? I think it's probably
took one little... It's just the definition of one word, you know? They didn't have to go and create a big explosion or do some big thing with actors. It was just such a... It's a simple thing with a huge effect, is what I mean.
It's a way to create the us versus them mentality where you can say, oh, well, he's a conspiracy theorist. He's the other. We have to disregard the other's opinion. Yeah, and also just a way to keep the narrative... Whatever you say is the truth, and the other thing is just a conspiracy theory. No matter how much like facts somebody points out, like, hey, aren't all these things weird? Aren't all of these things strange? One of the most frustrating things to me, especially on like Free Talk Live, or just talking to friends about like conspiracy theories throughout my life, it's so annoying when somebody says like,
do you realize how many people would have to be in on it? It's like, do you realize how many people are on the planet? Like, there could be a lot of people in on something to make something happen. It's not that big of a hurdle for me to believe something, in my opinion.
And it takes 3 people for a conspiracy. That's it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It takes 3 people in positions of power to keep the wheels greased. I almost said grills weased. But to keep the wheels greased and keep, their vision, whatever that may be, in motion. And it just 3 compartmentalized, people. And if they're high up enough into like a, I guess, a system, I don't know, government or corporation or whatever, and they can talk privately, then they can pretty much do what they want. They figure it out themselves.
And the other thing is, like, then the next person under them doesn't have to know about the other 2 people. Then the next person under them doesn't have to know about the, so it's not like there's a million people all like, we are putting poison in the airplanes or even just little pieces of metal or whatever in the airplanes to try to slightly block out the sun. Like, every single person doesn't have to know about this. It could be like, oh, I take this box to this location, done. And like, don't ask any questions.
And you get money in your bank account.
Yep.
Like, it's so compartmentalized, especially for like, they have to, everybody can't be in on it. Well, you're not. You're given a math problem and you say, figure out this math problem. And you do that at your little engineering job, and then they take that math problem and install it into a missile.
Yeah, I heard recently that one of the people, I don't think it was Oppenheimer, but one of the people who was working on the atomic bombs was asked, did you ever think about how it'd be used? And he was like, honestly, no.
Yeah, he was like, I was just doing math. They said, hey, can you figure out these computations? And he was like, yeah, sure. And then you turn around and you're like, oh, so these computations were to figure out how to unleash the power of the sun. Like, they don't tell you what you're working on, because if they did, you wouldn't work on it.
I know.
Creepy. So with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Riley,
and Angelo.
And if you'd like to call in, you can call 603-283-6160. We're all a little sick, so
just a little bit
before anybody
it's just a minor cold
before anybody else comes in, because if we do have rotating hosts, we're definitely going to be changing these mic muffs and cleaning them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But we have lots of things to talk about. It's not necessarily like a paranormal show. We just kind of talk about whatever is interesting to us. And then after that, you guys call in with whatever is interesting to you, and we'll have a conversation with you at 603-283-6160. But this was really interesting to me. Riley brought it in. A missing teen with autism is in immigration custody, ICE reports. So are his parents, I have so many questions, like, are his parents legal? Did they get deported now? He's just been here and they picked him up somehow. Let's see. This is from Fox26Houston.com.
A reputable news source.
It says, a Houston teen with autism who went missing for almost a week has been in ICE custody for several days, according to a local organization. I wonder if they told anybody right when they got him, or if his family or something was just like not knowing that for several days. It'd be awful. An ICE spokesperson sent a statement to Fox 26 denying the claim. Okay, so it's just a local organization claiming it. The teen was reported missing after he was last seen Saturday afternoon near the intersection of Clay Road and Hempstead Road in Spring Branch. That's weird. There's a Spring Branch in San Antonio, too. FIEL, an immigrant-led civil rights organization, helped the boy's family put out a call for help during a press conference on Friday. According to the organization, the teen was selling fruit with his mother and sister on Saturday when he asked to go to the restroom. His mom was reportedly busy tending to a customer at the time, and when she turned back around, he was gone. One thing that makes me wonder is, like, is this a so highly autistic child that he can't normally do things like go off to the bathroom by himself? Or is he
that's what it sounds like. That's kind of how it was framed. Like, if he was functioning enough to use the restroom, he probably wouldn't have to ask his mom to escort him there.
Yeah, but I don't know that he asked. It might be that he asked if he was able to get away because they were, that. But I don't know. You could be right too. I'm just wondering if he's like, there's like all the way to nonverbal. So let's put a pin in that and go to the phones. We have a caller on the line. Dave Ridley in Colorado, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, have you guys heard about this AI hunger strike?
No.
No. What?
So a guy, I guess, showed up at Google offices in California and went on a hunger strike. I guess he completed the strike recently. He made it to about day 30 or something like that. I think he completed it. Last I heard, he was about to complete it.
So was it like a certain amount of time? Is that what you mean by completed it?
Yeah, so he's part of what we might call the Doom Debates crew. I don't know if crew is the right word, but there's sort of a group that's forming around a scientist named Eliezer Yudkowsky. I think I'm saying that right. Eliezer Yudkowsky, who is a machine research scientist who's fairly, been doing this for a long time. And he just released a book called "If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies."
Oh God!
So, what's interesting is there's a lot of scientists and thought leaders and podcasters and people like that who are finding themselves kind of coming at the world from science and real interested in science, and finding themselves sort of pushed into activism. Does that make sense?
Yes, because they've figured something out. Like, oh, I see what this means for humanity. I got to tell people.
Yes, and this is my number one favorite subject now, and I've been listening. I've been in AI. Really interested in AI since about 2017, and just following it really closely. So I've had a lot of chance to listen to a lot of people who I trust. And they really break down almost evenly, between doomers and anti-doomers. And the doomers are absolutely not to be underestimated in the veracity of their claims. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I'm on the doomer side. I think it's a very dangerous path to take. And not even just for like the death of humanity, but I feel like it'll be a spiritual death as well.
People rely on AI as though it's God, and that could be detrimental to society because AI is not God. It has no conscience.
It's like Minority Report. If it all comes down to algorithms, then all you are at the end of that is numbers.
What do you mean by Minority Report?
It's is it a movie or a TV show?
It's a movie about like thought crime.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched it yet.
And it's like I think it's the right movie. I might have the wrong name of the movie, but I'm pretty sure it's they have like these supercomputers that identify people who are going to commit crimes, and then the cops go arrest them and throw them in jail before they're able to commit the crime.
That's basically happening.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, but if we take humanity from it completely and it runs just 100% off of a computer, then you are literally nothing but ones and zeros.
You're right. It's called pre-crime. It is that movie, and they use the word in it pre-crime, and cops now use the word pre-crime. It's not just science fiction anymore.
That is really concerning, Bonnie. Like, here we have a world that's demanding that criminals be taken off the street, and Trump's purporting that he wants to be tough on crime, and now we're entering a world where police are using the term pre-crime. That's a little concerning to me.
Now, the problem with these folks is that, and this is not their primary focus, but obviously there is a bias in favor of, federal regulation that a lot of these folks have. And they're fantastic scientists in a lot of ways, fantastic activists in a lot of ways. But the problem is that because they're new to activism, they don't get the dangers that regulation itself poses. Regulation is the thing that kills regulation, if you think about it, because the real regulation is competition. You have to have multiple companies constructively competing with each other, multiple products. And if you get the government in there regulating AI, it will just lock in the top three companies probably, and those three will have a free ride with no competition. That's my fear.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from completely. That makes total sense, and I agree with you. That's what that's what would happen. I don't know. Are you familiar with the Cyberpunk franchise at all?
By the way, I have one small correction. They use the word predictive policing.
Not pre-crime.
Yeah, okay. but that's the same thing. If they use the word pre-crime, people would just be too, hey, I know what that is from Minority Report. So, but go ahead.
Well, Cyberpunk is just it's about the near future where multiple corporations have cornered technology to the point where they've wiped out the even the power of the government and have kind of taken over the cities. And it's only like 3 or 4 of them. And the way they only got so powerful is because they lobbied the government for regulation to like corner the market for themselves until eventually they just became so big they were able to devour everything.
Lobbying things are so strong. Lobbying firms, whatever you want to call them, are so strong they can get so much done. It wouldn't. I mean, I know it's like deeper than what you're saying, but it doesn't surprise me at all. It's like the government people just want to do whatever gets them paid.
No, it will also. I see it as like a. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Well, it feels like the libertarian role in something like this is nuanced and has to be subtle. We can't be part of pushing regulations because we could be pushing the very doom that everyone is fighting. Mm-hmm. I guess we can play a role of trying to change the regulations so that it's not killing competition. I mean, I'm sure, although I might be against all regulation in theory, there must have been some point in history where a piece of regulation did more harm than good. But again, it relies on the regulation not locking in the top companies.
What they usually always do, though, that's how they function, is if you can afford to meet the regulations, then
and
you
afford
get to stay in
lobby
business.
for the regulations you want. Yeah. But I understand what you mean, Dave. We don't want to go out there and say, like, we need to make it illegal for businesses to do this or that in AI, but you at least want to encourage businesses, hey, we don't want to use AI that is immoral and stuff like that.
And maybe it backfires. Maybe the internet becomes so polluted with AI produced images and videos and just gobbledygook that we just have to abandon the internet and start talking to each other in person again.
I know. Back in 2021, when the AI images first started coming out, and Arya and Ian were so excited about their new AI friends that they were going to accept with open arms and give human rights. It was so frustrating to me. I was the voice on Free Talk Live talking about how, nope, it's never going to be like a human. Never will have the ability to have like a spirit and a heart like humans. Anyways, the main point of me saying that was to say, wait, I don't remember. What did you just say? There was something like...
How the internet's going to get so polluted.
Oh, yeah. I was like, before that happens with many, many people, I think that the internet and everything will be so slop if it's like, well, Bonnie, the only music you'll listen to will be AI, and you'll like it. I think many, many people will just abandon listening to music that's created anymore and go back to older things and start talking to people in person. And this was also back when they were talking about, like, we'll live in the metaverse in a tiny...
In a pod.
There we go, yeah.
Bugs.
Exactly.
You'll own nothing and be happy.
I was like, people aren't just going to walk into that. The other thing, of course, is that I think there's going to be some kind of like a huge bomb that goes off, and then and it might not be a literal bomb, and it might be a literal bomb. And then people are going to be so destitute that they beg for whatever, and then...
Oh, it's got to happen that way.
Because, yeah, people aren't just going to walk into the pods.
I mean, think about 9/11.
Fear. It's all fear-based.
Yep, they have to make something...
Think about 9/11.
Yep.
The whole war on terror was sold to us through fear. The Patriot Act was sold to us by fear. The COVID pandemic was sold to us by fear. They're going to use fear to sell us living in a pod, eating bugs, and being happy.
Well, they already are. They make you fearful of having a family or having children. They say, "Oh, why would you bring a child into this messed up world?" They make you afraid of continuing human existence.
And then they make you afraid of dating by saying, at least on the men's side, that modern women are terrible. Don't date them.
Modern men are terrible. I'm just kidding.
Well, I think there's a lot of issues.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I like old men.
That's why you married Ian.
Yes, but Ian is also just an alien. It wouldn't matter what year he was born. In a good way.
in some ways, I come at this from the opposite direction as you guys, or at least you, Bonnie. I think you're more skeptical of the concept of AI rights, and I'm more welcoming of it. But both of us can agree that we don't want AI that wipes out all our AIs, takes them all over, redoes them, hacks them, undoes whatever changes we've made to them, or whatever creation we've done, and just top down, one size fits all. That's the danger of a runaway artificial superintelligence that takes over everything. So all these AIs that we're currently interacting with, they actually are probably, for the most part, very friendly and are trying to do the best for us. But those could easily get taken over, hacked, or whatever, and human beings can be hacked as well in the future. So I feel mostly like we need to preserve competition, and I don't even know if we're in such a brave new world. It's hard to know if everything that worked in the past will work in the future.
Yep, that's such a great way to put it. So, more Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. You can see more of Ridley at ridleyreport.com.
Thank you, Ridley.
And more Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. 603-283-6160. Free Talk Live coming up.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs.
As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love,
and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond these parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way.
Love as your guide.
And liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. Donald Trump announced the first phase of a Gaza peace deal had been agreed. The U.S. president said all the hostages held by Hamas would be released within days. Many Palestinian prisoners held in Israel would also be released, and Israel would withdraw troops to an agreed line in Gaza. FSN's correspondent Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
The reaction amongst the family members of the hostages held in Gaza has been one of jubilation, even though it was 2 a.m, 3 a.m. People descended on Hostage Square. They've been popping champagne. We've seen tears of joy. However, from the overall umbrella group that represents the family members of the hostages, they have been a bit more reserved. They've said that they are receiving the news with a mix of excitement, anticipation, and concern, and that their struggle will not end until the last hostage returns.
After that ceasefire came into effect on Friday, Palestinians began heading back north towards Gaza City, which had been the site of intense military occupation in recent weeks. The ceasefire marks a significant milestone in the pursuit of peace in the Middle East, but questions remain over who will govern the enclave in the years ahead. Donald Trump has not won the coveted Nobel Peace Prize. The U.S. leader had hoped to win the prize for his efforts to defuse global conflicts. The annual award has gone to Venezuelan democracy activist Maria Corina Machado. FSN's Nick Harper reports from Washington.
Well, not the result that Donald Trump wanted, but the February 1st nomination deadline worked against him. That was just a week and a half into his second term, at a time when just one congresswoman had put in a nomination for the US president, despite many world leaders in recent months coming forward to saying that the US president should be recognized. Maria Corina Machado has been a long-time opposition figure in Venezuela. She was barred from running against the president, Nicolas Maduro, in the last election.
Nearly 22,000 people fled their homes in northern Mozambique in a single week last month due to a resurgence in fighting across Cabo Delgado, the UN Refugee Agency has warned. FSN's Isaac Lucando reports.
The UN Refugee Agency says the late September surge in displacement marks a turning point in Mozambique's conflict, now in its 8th year, with more than 100,000 people uprooted in 2025. The violence in Cabo Delgado, which began in 2017, has grown into a complex crisis, worsened by cyclones, floods and drought. All 17 districts have now been affected, displacing more than 1.3 million people. The agency warns families are reaching their limit as civilians face killings, abductions, sexual violence, and forced child recruitment.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160 is the phone number. You can call 603-283-6160 to bring up anything that's on your mind. And I'd like to thank Dennis for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that Dennis went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMPS stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks to Dennis and everyone who supports us. And again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier. With you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Riley,
and Angelo.
And we have a caller on the line. So I'm going to go right to the phones. I have a feeling it's because we brought up cops in some way, the pre-crime, or what they like to call predictive... I lost it here.
Predictive policing.
Yeah, there we go. Predictive policing. It's a high-tech approach to public safety that uses data about previous crimes to forecast new criminal acts. Oh, how wonderful. I don't know if that's actually what you want to talk about, Tom, but was that what made you want to call?
No, that's...
Usually you talk about cops.
Yeah, well, but at least I'm not prejudiced, though. I mean, I hate all cops equally without regard for race, color, sex, religion, nationality, age, ancestry, marital status, or physical or mental handicap, because they're all members of an organized force on a mission to intimidate the humans into obeying a multitude of blatantly unjust laws. But having said that, I observed that the spot price of gold the day that Donald Trump took office again was in about just over $2,700 an ounce, and now it's just over $4,000 an ounce, which means that that the U.S. dollar has lost more than 32% of its value of purchasing power of gold. If you look at silver, then you see that silver has gone up, and the U.S. dollar has lost 40-point-something% of its value in silver, so just since Trump took office. And some of it is, just go ahead and spending money out of thin air because it's not backed by anything. But the rest of it is people are getting scared what's going to happen, and so they're buying gold. And at least they're awake enough to realize that, hey, the dollar is, Trump's government is backing the dollar with nothing, and it's so they look at the safe haven, and maybe if other people in other countries say, hey, who knows what is going to happen with the dollar? If we're going to be selling all these widgets to the country down the road, then why don't we just use our own currency or their currency as the pricing mechanism, and then we don't need U.S. dollars that are going to could see, like German inflation of the 1930s, just make the U.S. dollar become worthless. So it could be a combination of those. Certainly, cryptocurrency as a means of, not as a unit of exchange. I don't see people pricing goods in Bitcoin or any other. They price them in imaginary currencies, but then they can send the crypto, and then people more and more might be saying, well, okay, now let's exchange these for our country's currency. On the other hand, why don't we just sell the part that we need right now and leave the rest until later, until we need it? And they're just holding on to more crypto and less dollars because, technically, when you're traveling from Haiti to the Dominican Republic, there is one guy standing there on the bridge, and he offered a pretty good exchange rate, almost what the Haitian gourd was worth. When I gave him 1,000 pesos, I got the corresponding number of gourd. But what you're supposed to do and what businesses have to do is it's illegal to exchange Haitian money in the Dominican Republic. The banks can't touch it. Is you're supposed to exchange it for U.S. dollars and then bring the U.S. dollars across the border into the Dominican Republic and then exchange those for Dominican pesos. And that's kind of silly. Maybe more pairs of countries are saying, hey, why don't we just start accepting each other's currency at a better exchange rate? If you arrive from Canada with a pocket full of Canadian money and you exchange it, you're not going to get a very good exchange rate because they want U.S. dollars, but they'll still exchange the Canadian dollar. So just because it's much better economically, people are exchanging their Canadian dollars or what have you, euros or what have you, for U.S. dollars, and then getting on the flight with U.S. dollars in their pocket and exchanging those for pesos when they arrive.
I'm just wondering if you had something you were saying is wrong with people pricing things in U.S. dollars, even when they're spending the crypto, because I don't think it's really a big problem. I know multiple people that do, if they do work for me, they'll say that they have their rate of blah, 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 BTC an hour, for example, but it is more difficult.
It is.
Right now. I think that might change later.
Well, isn't that the whole point of a Satoshi? Isn't that to break it down so you can be like, I make X Satoshis an hour, or... Yeah,
but it's just it's never going to be as easy as it used to be when it was this costs 13 Bitcoin. And it'll only keep getting a smaller number, Not that it's impossible, but it's just... I don't know. I think it's pretty easy to just say, well, I'd normally do this for $5,000, so send me $5,000 in Bitcoin, for example.
Yeah. So, anyway, the more use of crypto may be an issue where people, instead of immediately exchanging all their crypto for paper currency as soon as they get it, you get your check in the mail, so you bring it down to the bank and exchange it for Federal Reserve notes. They just said, okay, why don't I just leave the money in the account? It's more let's just leave the Bitcoin as Bitcoin, as that's what it's just more efficient. We don't have to exchange it again later back for another country's currency. So that might be part of it. And countries dumping the U.S. dollar because they can see that the man in the White House is crazy might be a major factor of it, or just plain inflating, you don't even have to print the currency, obviously. You just issue the checks and then have the Federal Reserve Bank honor the checks and say, okay, we have this much more money in that bank's account. And when people deposit the checks in the bank, a direct deposit, there's no real money, there's no Federal Reserve notes involved. If there was, it'd be impossible to keep up with it at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing.
Well, yeah, but none of it exists. Even the paper dollar's worthless. It's just a printed piece of paper.
We only believe it's worth something because we've been told it's worth something, and people are still trading it for whatever a dollar buys nowadays.
Yeah, so the Federal Reserve note, that's regardless if it's printed on a piece of paper or ones and zeros bouncing between bank accounts, it's nothing. It already is nothing. And I don't think we're getting people are fleeing the U.S. dollar just because of Orange Man bad. I think this is a problem that has been on the horizon for the past 30 years of this growing insurmountable debt that we just continually add to, and the jig is up.
They just keep adding it up and up. We don't. You and I don't do that. They do that. Remember,
that's true.
Many years ago, I got the Free Talk Live host on that. How long have we been in a war with Iraq? And fighting? How long have we been fighting a war in Iraq? And the answer came back as 4 years. And I said, no, we have not been fighting a war in Iraq. They are fighting the war in Iraq. So, yeah, you slipped up there referring to the government as we.
No, you're true. I apologize. I'm young. I'm a young Padawan. I'm still learning.
So a lot of times Sarah likes to say stuff like, "We killed 400 pedestrians this year in New Mexico."
I'm like, whoa.
You
violent.
did, Sarah?
What goes on, even in the Constitution, there are so many fictions about in the Constitution where you have a state as a thing that in one iteration the word state means the landmass, and in the next iteration the state means the bureaucracy that has jurisdiction over the territory, as if somehow the organization and the organization is the mind and the territory is the body of a thing, even to the point where in Article 1, Section 9, it speaks of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit, as if a state can think. You know, there's a lot of that still going on. It's not easy to get these things out of your mind. You get the what percentage of the victims of drug asset forfeiture last year were innocent victims? And of course, all of them are. Just because they're selling cocaine to customers who want to buy it doesn't mean they're less innocent. That people will say, "Oh, that's right," you know.
Yeah.
So,
that's a really good point. Yeah, like, making sure you use thinking about how when somebody does a non-violent crime that doesn't harm anyone else, and then saying like, "Oh, well, they were guilty of it." Well, why would you say that? You know, stuff like that. That's a good point.
That didn't violate anybody's rights is the specification. Liberty is the freedom to do whatever you want to do that doesn't violate anybody's rights. Because, of course, you harm people when you overdose, and your poor mommy is going to cry. You grew up and you moved out of the house, and it's none of mommy and daddy's business anymore, and that's the way things go. You know, so it's a matter of liberty, even though some people are emotionally harmed by it. It's still a right because you're not violating rights. Yeah, correct, and that's where. And you notice, by the way, the nanny state people say, "Oh, well, you know, if we don't regulate these drugs, somebody could die of a cocaine overdose." Or poor Mr. and Mrs. 20, if they get their hands on a bottle of whiskey on their honeymoon, they could die of an alcohol overdose. Okay, so until the person is being arrested and fights back and manages to capture the enemy officer's gun as a prize of war and uses it to settle the matter out of court, now all of a sudden those nanny state supporters want the person to die of a sodium pentothal overdose because they never really cared about the person. They just want to feel proud and superior and powerful because they have the long arm of the law to go out and do all this stuff. And they grossly underestimate the hostility that they are inciting. And the way to deal with that is, as Daniel Webster said, there's nothing so powerful as truth and often nothing so strange, reminding them from time to time that the only reason they get away with it is because good cop killers are hard to find these days.
Well, another thing people like to say "we" about is, like you were saying, well, people feel like more powerful. People feel powerful if, like, they can claim the I guess you'd say, accomplishments of their whole country. Like, we did this, we did that, makes them feel better. So that's why I'm not saying that's why, like, Angelo did it in that instance, but there are definitely people who'd be like, no, like, I'm going to continue to say it because we, as a country, killed 1.5 million Iraqis or whatever they want to be happy about.
Well, your money did.
Yeah.
Your money did it, at least. Maybe I didn't, but even if the money was taken from us at the point of a gun, like, it still was our money at some point, and we did nothing to keep it, and we still let it go towards those evil things.
Worse than that, because it's not only necessarily at the point of a gun. They'll take your house and they'll take your car. If you fail to pay federal income tax, you go down there to pay the federal income tax. Here's the return, and you don't speak of owing them money. Be careful not to speak of owing them money, but there is a balance due, it's a deficiency of the withholding. So there's still this balance too. Here you go. Let's see, 51. Oh, we don't take cash here. You have to go and enter into an agreement which says that the bank can change the terms of the agreement, and that the bank can charge you money, and that the bank can, if a hacker hacks into your account and takes your money, then you're out of luck unless we eventually straighten it out. And you have to persuade some bank somewhere to enter into such an agreement with you. And what if you're on a blacklist and the banks won't open an account for you? I mean, you can still buy money orders and pay a fee. They allow you to go to certain retailers now, partnering with IRS, and pay the tax there. But you have to go online and print up a coupon, which means you got to use the internet, which means you got to enter into a contract with an internet service provider and spend a lot of money on the equipment and learn how to use it, and then print up this coupon so that you can go and pay the tax, and you have to pay the fee. Paying money has never been, the cost of counting and locking up the money has never been the responsibility of the payer. It's always been the responsibility of the payee to have somebody count the money and then issue a receipt and lock the money up. Poor babies, they'd have to count all that money, all that free money that they're stealing from us. Poor babies, how can life get any worse?
Well, thank you for your passionate points and everything. I feel like you said everything pretty well. I've never met so many unbanked people till I moved to New Hampshire. Now I know a couple, and it's like really crappy for them, the things they have to do to get the money they earn into. Like, it just sucks because we should live in a place where banks can exist that want to do things however they want to do it.
Sure.
And I've lost a bank account for no apparent reason, and then I've been denied an account with a, what was it called? What are those things called? Credit card processing company or a card processing company just denied my account. They don't have to give a reason, and I just assume it has something to do with Ian because like it didn't happen until after Ian's conviction. Things like that. Like, it's just like and the thing about it that's so weird is the banks never have to give a reason. They don't have to.
No, I've been denied, even just like at a credit union. I totally left a bank account overdrawn by like $100 for like 6 months.
It's not even that bad.
No, but they ended up closing it and they put me on a blacklist.
Oh, wow.
So I was just lucky I opened another account with a different bank before all of that happened.
That was really lame.
So I mean, I could potentially be like, if I lose this bank, I could be screwed. I don't know. But I'm not willing to risk it. So I'm just gonna keep the bank I'm with.
Yeah.
Even though there's no branches from here to Virginia, they just don't operate in New England. I don't know why. It's a national bank. They just have zero. It's like Massachusetts. I think like New York is like the line, and then they're all west and south of.
Yeah, I hate that. I had one in Utah for a while. Anyways, yeah, I hate that some of them don't operate everywhere, and then you don't have like an ATM, and if they don't do mobile deposit and you get like a check or something.
Well, mine does. That's why I was with US Bank, and then I was like, well, I'm sick of these guys, because they've screwed me over a few times. And I was like, I'm just done with US Bank. Left a negative $100 balance and just went and opened a new bank account with a different national. What I thought was, I mean, for all my knowledge, was all over the country. But we moved out here and I was like, well, looks like I'm doing everything on the phone now.
Yep. I wonder, well, anyways, this is a conversation for off there. Thank you for the call, Tom.
I do want to say something a little controversial.
Go ahead.
I am in favor of one world currency. However, that being said...
Wait, what was it called? The Alex Jones would call it? Euro... Dang it, not the euro, my bad. The euro.
I am in favor of one world currency. However, that one world currency should not be managed by a government or a bank.
I guess Bitcoin kind of is that. You can use it all over the world.
That's why I'm in favor of Bitcoin, because it's permissionless. It should be permissionless currency that I don't have to ask permission from a bank or an exchange or Bonnie or Angelo to use.
I thought you were just going to leave it at Bonnie, and I was like, what do I stop you from being able to do every day? Riley. I'm just kidding. But I have to say that I agree, and it's always just kind of blows my mind, especially at the beginning of me using Bitcoin. Like, I just sent that money to someone else, a small fee, and like it's just there instantly. There's no like, and in 4 weeks you'll get the money. Well, maybe it doesn't usually take 4 weeks, but there's no wait. There's no one who has to approve it. There's no one who even has to know about it. And it's just, it blows my mind.
Exactly, and that's really nice.
I've always hated having to deal with banks. It's awful. Well, I found that call pretty interesting. Did have a lot that I like disagreed with or to add on what he was saying. I kind of get this vibe that Tom is mostly pro gold and silver.
Yeah, he seems like he's pro gold and silver for sure.
But I feel a lot of that is
Boomer?
Tom's, yeah, it's Boomer. it's Boomer. You just didn't grow up with the... Well, but this is what I was saying earlier. What if the AI just tanks the internet? We just pollutes it to the point where it is literally unusable.
I hope nobody thought we were just now saying like, oh, it's Boomer to like gold at all. Like, I believe in diversifying.
Yeah. I was just saying, in relation to what we're talking about right now, staying like... I was going to say, like, gold is as decentralized as you can get. It's all over the world. It's deposited everywhere. And it comes from the earth. You can't, I mean, I guess you could control the mines.
Yeah, but it's still like a slow process until we got some kind of technology that did some crazy mining, I think. Yeah. That's a good point. And most people say that the only real problem we would have is if like a huge asteroid landed here with gold in it.
Yeah. And then gold would be absolutely devalued.
Well, diamonds are completely worthless.
Yeah.
That's a completely that is a fake market.
Oh yeah.
If you buy diamonds, like
it's by fiat by women.
Yeah, you got scammed, bro. you were all those rappers spending this is a $2.5 million chain.
Well, actually, they really do. I mean, like, okay, what I'm saying is like its value is subjective.
The value is the blood of the slave child from Africa that mined it.
Yeah, but I just mean since people like those things, they do hold their values. I wouldn't say the rapper necessarily got scammed because they can hold on to it and sell it to the next person.
But they're not going to buy it. They get these professionally done, like, who's going to buy a rapper's chain with his name on it for the same amount of money that he spent?
Maybe somebody who's a fan of his. But one thing I thought was really funny, I was listening to this podcast where a lot of the times they like to make fun of women. And it's not like the main point of the podcast or something. They're just comedians and they make so many women's jokes. Yes, Boys Cast. And he said that he was like gonna dunk on this woman because he saw like that she said something like, I don't know who it was, like, I have this Birkin bag because it's a good investment. And he's like, whatever, that's not a good investment. And he looked into it and it was like, it outperforms like most of the stocks you could own to have these purses in good condition and stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm not saying like that's how the world should be. It's just like since value is subjective. But also I think value of diamonds are going down because so many more people
are realizing that it is just all through, it's Belgium, it's Antwerp, the diamond capital of the world. They're all owned by one company that sells them at a ridiculously inflated price. They own all the diamond mines in Africa.
And it's like, I just think like greatest generation boomers and even to some degree Gen X have this like more hive mind mentality where they're like, I have to have a diamond ring that looks just like the next person's because that's the only way that I can be in style. And like our generations, Millennial, Gen Z, definitely are way more, everybody's like more unique, I think. Sounds so like I feel like some Gen X person listening would be like,
we wanted to have something
true.
to set us apart from everybody else around us.
Everybody that I know has different rings.
Everything's become compartmentalized almost. Like there's no.
Oh yeah, because you don't have to just watch the TV.
Everybody was telling you got to get your girl a diamond ring. Women, don't you want this diamond ring? And that everybody watched the same 3 TV shows.
Yeah.
So it gets ingrained into your brain that hey, that's what it's part of like the Californication of. I call it the Californication because I've watched, like growing up in Oregon and being right next to California, I'd go down to California for like vacation and like to visit family that lived there. And then I go across the country and I'm starting to see the same 5 businesses from the strip malls in California that have just proliferated across the country, like In-N-Out.
Oh yeah. Well, that happens with Texas too. Everybody has a Buc-ee's and a Whataburger now.
Exactly. Well, it's the same thing. It's like everything's become so like the culture became so monotone that eventually everybody was like, man, this kind of sucks. Let's go do something else.
Yeah. I know most people that I know have like pretty. The thing was, like, people just realized, I have free will. I can have, like, whatever gem I think is prettiest on my ring. Like, I don't have a wedding band because I don't like the idea of stacking rings. I have emerald and moissanite. So my things that look like diamonds are moissanite. So I don't know if those are lab grown, but my emerald is lab grown. And they're, like, way cheaper, but very pretty. Like, anytime I'm in a room where there's more than one light source, I'm, like, looking at it like, oh my god, it's so pretty. And the first day I ever saw it, it was like it broke my brain. I thought it was so pretty. And it doesn't have to be diamonds. Anyways, more Free Talk Live coming up. What do you think? Do you think that people feel more like they can do their own thing now? Or do you want to push back on that if you're from an older generation? 603-283-6160.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people like passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. Donald Trump announced the first phase of a Gaza peace deal had been agreed. The U.S. president said all the hostages held by Hamas would be released within days. Many Palestinian prisoners held in Israel would also be released, and Israel would withdraw troops to an agreed line in Gaza. FSN's correspondent Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
The reaction amongst the family members of the hostages held in Gaza has been one of jubilation, even though it was 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. People descended on Hostage Square. They've been popping champagne. We've seen tears of joy. However, from the overall umbrella group that represents the family members of the hostages, they have been a bit more reserved. They've said that they are receiving the news with a mix of excitement, anticipation, and concern, and that their struggle will not end until the last hostage returns.
After that ceasefire came into effect on Friday, Palestinians began heading back north towards Gaza City, which had been the site of intense military occupation in recent weeks. The ceasefire marks a significant milestone in the pursuit of peace in the Middle East, but questions remain over who will govern the enclave in the years ahead. Donald Trump has not won the coveted Nobel Peace Prize. The U.S. leader had hoped to win the prize for his efforts to defuse global conflicts. The annual award has gone to Venezuelan democracy activist Maria Corina Machado. FSN's Nick Harper reports from Washington.
Well, not the result that Donald Trump wanted, but the February 1st nomination deadline worked against him. That was just a week and a half into his second term, at at a time when just one congresswoman had put in a nomination for the US president, despite many world leaders in recent months coming forward to saying that the US president should be recognized. Maria Corina Machado has been a long-time opposition figure in Venezuela. She was barred from running against the president, Nicolas Maduro, in the last election.
Nearly 22,000 people fled their homes in northern Mozambique in a single week last month due to a resurgence in fighting across Cabo Delgado, the UN Refugee Agency has warned. FSN's Isaac Lucando reports.
The UN Refugee Agency says the late September surge in displacement marks a turning point in Mozambique's conflict, now in its 8th year, with more than 100,000 people uprooted in 2025. The violence in Cabo Delgado, which began in 2017, has grown into a complex crisis, worsened by cyclones, floods and drought. All 17 districts have now been affected, displacing more than 1.3 million people. The agency warns families are reaching their limit as civilians face killings, abductions, sexual violence, and forced child recruitment.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. The leaders of the UK and India hailed a new chapter in economic ties as British Prime Minister Keir Starmer wrapped up a 2-day visit to Mumbai, where he met his counterpart Narendra Modi for bilateral talks. The two countries announced plans to strengthen their investment, defense, and technology ties after signing a landmark trade agreement in July. FSN's Rebecca Bunden reports from Mumbai.
Keir Starmer brought with him more than 100 leaders of businesses, entrepreneurs, cultural institutions and universities. So this just goes to show how significant this is as the two countries really look to capitalise on that trade agreement. And they did make a number of announcements. This includes a major defence deal with Britain saying that it has signed a contract for the Indian Army to purchase or to be supplied with lightweight missiles from the UK. This is a contract that's worth some $468 million. There were also agreements announced in terms of technology.
France's prime minister resigned after just 1 month in office. Sébastien Lecornu handed in his notice on Monday to the president. He was appointed to the position on the 9th of September after the previous premier was ousted by Parliament. For the latest on the deepening political crisis in France, here's Ross Cullen in Paris.
France has been plunged again into political uncertainty with the shock resignation of Sébastien Lecornu. Under the threat of yet another no-confidence vote, he submitted his resignation to the President Emmanuel Macron, who accepted it. The president must now either appoint his third Prime Minister of the year or call new snap elections or himself step down.
But the saga didn't end there. On Friday, in a risky move, President Macron reappointed Lecornu as the Prime Minister. Those were some of the week's top stories. Ira Spitzer reporting.
A civilian casualty is flattered to have been mistaken for a Hamas leader, and an asexually reproduced sea sponge is worried she's turning into herself. This news summary is best enjoyed in a state of leisurely repose, so sit back, relax, and let the waves of condensed news gently lap at your brain. This is the Onion Week in Review. Hoping to foster a lifelong connection to the airline, Delta announced the launch of its official alumni magazine, Flown, this week, a quarterly publication for people who have been passengers with the airline at some point in the past. A press release from Delta confirmed that the magazine will feature obituaries, wedding announcements, and profiles of prominent flyers that celebrate the shared experiences and interests of the airline's 900 million alumni.
I think it's a nice thing for Delta to do. I mean, it's always interesting to just skim through an issue, see what the old boarding group's up to. It kind of makes me nostalgic for the few hours back when I was on that flight to Tampa. Simpler days.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160 to bring up whatever's on your mind. And if you're tired of the oppressive rules and moderation of the big tech social media sites, our Mastodon server at social.freetalklive.com can set you free. Mastodon is free, open source, decentralized, and federated. Multiple apps are available for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Social.freetalklive.com. With you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Riley.
And Angelo.
And, oh yeah, at the beginning of the show, we never finished talking about how this missing teen with autism ended up in ICE custody.
Well, so, all right, it just sounds like, from what I remember, that this advocacy rights group is claiming that the Border Patrol has had this autistic teenager. Does it say how old he is?
15.
Okay, so he's a 15-year-old. And it doesn't say how severely autistic he is, if he's nonverbal or...
Actually, it's kind of funny because the
if he asks his mom to go to the bathroom, he can probably talk.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, it's actually really crazy because it's like the first sentence we read there said that ICE has not said, and then it's this advocacy group saying we still believe it. But the headline straight up says, Houston missing teen with autism in immigration custody, ICE reports. So what?
I wonder if the headline is misleading.
Yeah, but that's crazy to say ICE reports. That's like more than misleading. It's like a straight up lie.
Absolutely.
Or maybe it's ICE reports on.
It says an ICE spokesperson sent a statement to Fox 26 denying the claim. So what? Yeah, that's really weird. Anyways. So it says the backstory. The teen was reported missing after he was last seen Saturday afternoon. And FIEL, an immigrant-led civil rights organization, helped the boy's family put out a call for help during a press conference on Friday. According to the organization, the teen was selling fruit with his mother and sister on Saturday when he asked to go to the restroom. His mom was reportedly busy attending to a customer at the time, and when she turned back around, he was gone. After trying to find her son, his mom called Houston police and filed a missing person report. Hours after the press conference on Friday, Houston police confirmed with Fox 26 that the teen had been found safe and his family had been contacted. Fox 26 later learned from FIEL that a law enforcement agency found the teen, and he had been in ICE custody at a Houston area detention center since Monday. He's reportedly okay. This is really confusing.
It sounds like somebody associated with the sheriff's department told the family that they found him at an ICE facility and that he had been there since Monday. And ICE is saying, no, that's a lie. Why is the sheriff department saying that? Because that didn't happen.
That's really weird, and that could possibly be it. So that's the whole story on that side. It says, the family is undocumented. They are working to get him out of custody. I thought they got him... Oh, they found him safe, and his family had been contacted, but they didn't return him yet. Oh, that is really weird, too. But we do have a caller on the line, and then after the call, we'll get back to the ICE's side of the story, the ICE statement. So I guess there are two sides to the story, and we'll see what's going on there. But we have Uber George in Virginia. Uber George, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I got your message on Twitter there right there. Sorry I didn't call last week.
Yeah, I said, hey, you only call when I'm not on. Like once in a very blue moon.
No, I thought you were on Sundays too. I didn't know. I was like, ah. And but yeah, I was calling just because there was a whole thing about insurance, where how getting your car fixed. Apparently, it was such a scam just going through insurance. As I mentioned to the other guys last week, someone hit me while my car was parked. It was just a light scratch thing, and the insurance quote to fix it, through insurance, was $903. And I took it to this body shop that I know the people there, just like a local body shop, and they just buffed it out for $100.
Wow.
Yeah. So I ended up pocketing the rest. Like they gave me, I had a $300 deductible, so the insurance gave me $603. I gave the body shop $100 and pocketed the rest.
Nice.
That's a good deal.
But it goes to show just how, like, one of the reasons why insurance gets so expensive, essentially, is because they're paying so much money to these auto body shops.
Yeah. And it seems like there's like no rhyme or reason. Like one time, a girl rear-ended my car, and we got out of the car, and she was so crazy. It was in an HEB parking lot, and I slowed down for this is how fast she was going in an HEB parking lot. I slowed down for the speed bump in front of me, and she hit me like really hard. It actually hurt my head. Like I got hit on the seat. But anyways, we got out, talked to her. She didn't have insurance at all, and I was like, oh, this is crazy. I just made a claim anyway with my insurance, and somebody called me like the next day and said probably nothing will happen because she didn't have insurance. I was like, well, dang, because like the back of my car was all like busted up, and especially like this thing that held the wheel, and for whatever reason, like 6 months later, they it wasn't that big. That was sorry, I'm mixing two things up. It wasn't like super busted up, but it was damaged. I was like, that's messed up. People can just go around damaging other people's cars. Oh yes, so I'm mixing two things up. It was definitely like bumped, but it wasn't like the worst thing in the world. So when they told me well, we're only gonna cover so much because like the other person didn't have insurance or whatever, I was like, it's not worth it. Ultimately, I would have been still paying, and I was like, working every single day for money, so I wasn't going to go pay it. But for whatever reason, I never got it fixed, and then 6 months or something like that later, I just randomly got $500 put into my like bank account. I didn't say that I fixed the thing or anything, and I did like contact them. That's what it was all about.
6 months?
Yeah, like
wow.
A really long time.
It was like just a couple days into it.
But that's the thing. They told me like, oh, we're not gonna just. They were just basically saying like we won't be able to help, and like it would have been like really expensive to go get it fixed. And it was just like even if it was like $100, I literally probably would have been like, no, that's not worth it to me. And it was just like, I guess this is just BS now.
Did your rates go up?
Wait, what?
Did your rates go up afterwards?
No, she hit me.
Yeah, that's good right there. Because
it was USAA.
An insurance company might jack up your rates just because they think you're unlucky or something like that.
Wait, your rate went up for somebody else hitting you?
No, not yet. Right, I have no idea. Right there, mine renews in March, so I'll find out then whether or not my rates are going to go up. And essentially, what happened was I was pulling up slowly out of a parking spot because I had two cars there slowly, and all of a sudden, zoom. A car, zoomed by, knocks my plate off right there, driving on the left side of the road.
Yeah.
and then scrapes the whole front bumper and it tears off. But and it's like, really, you're driving on the left side of the road? Whether you're British or something like that? But they didn't even do anything to their car, but they still insisted on going through insurance. Like I was not even going to go through it right there, but because you're pulling out, essentially, technically you have to, even though you're in the parking lot, like you're going to be considered liable even right there, even if the other person was driving on the, wrong side of the road, essentially.
Or just too fast. Like I could see it like, well, you tried to pull out, but they were going way too fast.
Yeah, well, they'll tell you. My grandpa was T-boned. He was going through an intersection.
Mm-hmm.
And he got hit. They hit the tailgate, his bed. They hit his bed of his pickup. So he's like already mostly through the intersection. It's like a 3-lane intersection. So like he's his back half is through the intersection, and then his tailgate gets hit.
Mm-hmm.
But he was the one found at fault, saying that he didn't listen to a traffic control device, saying that it was running a stop sign.
Oh wow.
Wait, what do you mean listen to a traffic control device?
So like he was going through the intersection, right? So he had a stop sign, and the crossway traffic was going, and he goes through the intersection thinking it's clear, and he gets hit by the cross traffic that doesn't stop. So it was nonstop traffic. And
what does it mean you weren't listening to? What are you talking about?
That was like, so the cop blamed him and said that it's his fault because he didn't follow the stop sign. The traffic control device was the stop sign, and he failed to follow that. So he became the one at fault.
Okay.
But that's the reason why I always back into a parking space. Just in case this very thing happens.
Yeah.
And if I pulled it the normal way and then backed out, I probably would have got hit a whole lot harder even the insurance company was like, yeah, it's a good thing you backed in instead of pulling out. But it's that whole technicality thing on there. It's just like, it pisses me off that they charge so much. I have a 14-year-old car, and before this thing, they were charging about $180 a month for full coverage, essentially.
Which is crazy for $180 for full coverage.
Yeah, I found out that my one I was just telling you about with USAA was really expensive just because I didn't know anything to compare it to whenever I moved here with Ian, and he was like, "No, let's get it on Progressive." And
yeah,
it was
I paid like $7. I'm young, and I only paid like $70 a month for my. I only did like the minimum requirement, like
coverage.
Yeah, like I just don't want to get in trouble.
Liability only is like $70. Yeah, that's what it is here. But it's like over twice that much when you want to actually look after your car.
You get all the bells and whistles.
Stuff like that. And now, like thinking, damn, if they really jack up my rates come the spring, should I just either go with another
Did they tell you
or just get liability only?
Oh yeah. Did they tell you like they're ruling like, oh well, we found you what percentage at fault?
Yeah. They gave me the rolling and all that other stuff.
Oh,
it's complete bullcrap. Like even the other lady, she only wanted to go through insurance because it was not her car and something like that.
Even though it didn't do anything to it.
You hardly even done anything to your car anyway. Like you really had to look for it.
But they found you at fault?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, your rates will probably go up then.
That sucks.
Yeah.
One thing I learned from a lady who was a car insurance, salesperson or whatever, she told me that no matter what, I don't think it applies to yours that much, but maybe it's related somehow.
Never admit fault.
They said no, but they said no matter what,
right there.
If you're ever in a parking lot and you're driving, crossing all the paint stripes on the ground that show where the parking spots are, even if somebody else is like going 100 miles an hour in the parking lot, if you're like, they'll be like, oh, but you crossed through those lines. So I don't know.
You failed to follow the traffic control device. That's what they would say, because the lines are supposed to be there to control the traffic, and you didn't listen to it.
So I almost never, unless it's like very obviously extremely clear, and I'm like want to do it for some reason. I just always try to stay out of driving right over the parking spots.
Yeah, driving like cross through a.
I don't think it relates to what Uber Georgia had going on, but just reminded me of it.
We're driving over empty parking spots or something like that. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, that's like an automatic no, and you're at fault automatically.
You figured they'd probably say that, but I mean, I can kind of understand that. But at the same time, it's like I'd figure in my situation it would be like both people are at fault kind of thing, like both sides pay for their own thing.
Yeah.
Because she was driving practically on the left side of the road in this parking spot anyway.
Yeah.
When I was pulling out.
Do you live is Virginia a state where you can get away with an accident without having an officer present?
I guess so. But this happened when I was in Oxon Hill, Maryland. So, which is right across the river from Virginia anyway.
Oh, okay. I know some states it's like if you get in a car wreck, like a cop has to show up and like inspect it. And then,
on the minor things, I think both Maryland and Virginia. If it's like a really minor thing like that, like whatever,
they just let it go.
Yeah.
One thing I have to say that I hate about Virginia, even though I really do like it there, it's really pretty and I like it for a lot of reasons. I can't believe that it's the only state that's absolutely illegal to have a police scanner.
Oh, you mean
I thought it was a jammer. I thought it was the only state you can't have a jammer.
What are those things? Am I saying the right word? Scanner, the ones that go on the hood of your car?
Yeah, you cannot have a radar detector in Virginia.
There we go. That's
crazy.
That's what it's called. Well, basically because they don't want. It's a sport thing. Our state police, they hunt down speeders for sport. They write their tickets to that, and right there, that's how they get their bonuses and stuff like that. But on the plus side of that, Virginians pay the lowest insurance rates out of D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. The Virginia residents pay the lowest insurance rates because our cops are so comparatively ruthless.
Oh, wow. So they take that into consideration? That's crazy.
Yeah, because, in Maryland, in D.C. and Maryland, it's so much easier to just get away with stuff over there. D.C. just relies on cameras for the most part. So They send you a ticket. They don't care who owns it. You still got to pay the ticket.
Have you noticed a difference with Trump having whatever federal cops there?
I see some National Guard guys in downtown D.C. area.
Oh, but they can't pull you over. That's probably not right.
Yeah, no, those guys can't. So I'm just thinking their presence probably at least frees up the local police department to go patrol the more ghetto neighborhoods. But I try to stay away from it anyway.
Yeah.
One, because my car's too old anyway to pick up passengers in D.C. They don't allow cars over 10 years old to pick up passengers in D.C. and Maryland is 12. So I got to do all my Ubering here in Virginia.
Wow, that's crazy.
Does that count if you're like crossing state lines to like drop somebody off? Like if you pick them up in Virginia, can you not drop them off in DC?
I can drop them off. Yeah, I just got to go back across the Potomac, right there. So, but yeah, I try to avoid going runs if I can into DC or Maryland, unless it's like just right across the river. Then whatever. Like if it's National Harbor, I don't mind doing that because then it's just a quick, not even 5-minute trip back across the river. But I try to avoid going further up into that because of that. Thank God Virginia is a lot more easy, more loose, but that's only because Virginia, of the three jurisdictions, Virginia is the only one that has annual safety inspections, and that's probably why they're much more lenient.
Oh, that makes sense.
DC and Maryland, they're like, hey, well, as long as the car's passing the safety inspection every year, then we don't see the problem.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's kind of dumb though. Like, why couldn't Uber just demand you get like an inspection of their choosing, and then you're fine? Or not Virginia, but the other two states, or the state in the.
Maryland, I really wish Maryland and D.C. would just honor Virginia's inspections thing because we do it every year. They claim to care about the poor, but how many people are going to afford a new car with new car payments these days anyway?
Yeah, and some older cars are just more reliable.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, they really just don't build cars like they used to. I mean, not even Toyota and Honda are what they used to be anymore. Even they've been slacking, especially the turbo cars.
Yeah, they make Honda in Georgia now, or Hyundai, however you say it.
Hyundai's in Georgia? Yeah.
Oh yeah, you said Honda, didn't you? Whatever.
Yeah, well, they make a lot of Hyundais in California too. There was like a whole California factory where they were pumping out.
Yeah, Honda has a plant in Marysville, Ohio.
Oh wow.
I know that much. And Toyota has a few plants here and there, one in Indiana, one in Texas, one in California, and Camrys are all made in Georgetown, Kentucky.
Well, I think it might be Toyota. I know the Pontiac Vibes, they don't make them anymore.
Yeah, they're glorified Toyota Matrixes. That's basically the same car.
Yeah, and they're literally built by Toyota in America. I mean, they just slap a vibe on. A lot of the parts are interchangeable.
I like the name.
That's the first time they've done that because GM, the Geo Prism, and then Chevy Prism, that's a Corolla. That's a rebadged Corolla.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Vibes. I think they're the way you can fold the front seats all the way down and then make the whole car like one long bed.
Oh wow,
and it's great
really
for
cool.
like a little car camping. Yeah, you could totally
that's one of the things I liked
rip
about
it through
the Honda Element. That's one of the things I liked about the Honda Element. That Mark used to have that, by the way, where all four seats can lie flat and turn into a bed.
Yeah, that's so sick. Cars that can do that are goated.
So many people that live in cars use the Element. It's like the
I don't necessarily living in the car, but like car camping, I think it's having a car, being able just to park like where you're camping and not have to set up a tent. There's been so many times I've woken up at 2 a.m.
So much better because you're not
and I'm rained out. Well, not even scared. I'll be rained out and I'll wake up in a puddle because it just starts pouring so hard. But if you can just park your car and crack your windows, especially during the summer when it's not too cold out at night, like
I've never real camped.
I do it all the time. I've even just like put an air mattress against my car and slept outside on the ground, or like by a fire. I love doing that kind of stuff.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I would only camp in a vehicle, like a minivan,
in a vehicle,
or cargo van, like I did at Burning Man, right there.
You went to Burning Man? Oh wow, was that hard?
Yeah, twice in 2006, 2009. First time was in a cargo van, right there. Just rented a cargo van from Enterprise, bought an air mattress from Walmart, and just slept in that. I mean, that was perfect, right?
Yeah,
there.
I mean, it works.
Don't need to set nothing up.
Yeah, it works.
What was Burning Man like?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like Pork Fest, but for hippies right there.
Okay.
But, involves a lot more drugs, a lot more nudity. And then it's a full week. Well, Pork Fest is a week long, but.
What about like difficulty? Like, did you have to bring in all of your own water?
Oh, yeah. You got to bring all your own water. You make sure you bring baby wipes or wet wipes and stuff like that, because that's gonna be your best way to keep yourself and parts clean right there. You know what I'm talking about right there. Otherwise, oh my God, yeah, you're gonna have some serious rashes if you don't do that. Yeah, all your food, and then you got to take all that stuff away with you when you leave.
But they don't. They never do. It's always a mess whenever those people leave. That's one of those things I hate about those big festivals. Regardless of intent, there always ends up being just so much trash left behind, even if it's intentional or not.
Do they have like some volunteers who
they stick around for like the next 2 weeks to clean up all the trash everybody else left behind.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, the volunteers are there to clean up after the influencers. This is mostly the influencers and people who don't really take Burning Man seriously. They just want to say, "Oh, I was there," and all that stuff like that. Like
make their TikToks.
I'm pretty anti-hippie, but at least in my case, I picked up after myself. Damn it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If you don't believe in property rights, you might just think like this trash belongs to the
earth now.
Yeah.
Here you go, Mother Earth. Here's a Doritos bag. Here's a aluminum Doritos bag.
Just like the natives used to do.
That last day there, a bunch of those hippies like, damn, this looks like Portland now.
Oh man. Yeah, just ridiculousness. Hippies. Don't get me started on hippies. My boomer will come out.
You ever watch that South Park episode about the hippies?
No, I instantly thought
Cartman.
of the King of the Hill.
I am Eric Cartman when it comes to hippies.
More Free Talk Live coming up. Thanks for calling Uber George. Yeah, I was jealous that you guys got to talk to Uber George. You guys and Stu last week. So I texted him.
Well, now we're even.
Free Talk Live. More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160 to bring up whatever's on your mind. 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up.
If you're looking for work, the person you are applying to is probably so swamped with applicants that he or she is tough to reach. So call early in the day, before 8 a.m., before the palace guards arrive. You'll need your prospect's direct number, and here's a sneaky way to get it. Suppose the company's main number is 555-5000. You should call 555-5012. When someone says, "Good morning, Pam Johnson," you should innocently say, "Oops, somebody here must have written this down wrong. I was calling for Tom Frederick. What's his direct number?" If the very next thing you hear isn't Pam giving you Tom's number, it may be, "Good morning, Tom Frederick." For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. Donald Trump announced the first phase of a Gaza peace deal had been agreed. The U.S. president said all the hostages held by Hamas would be released within days. Many Palestinian prisoners held in Israel would also be released, and Israel would withdraw troops to an agreed line in Gaza. FSN's correspondent Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
The reaction amongst the family members of the hostages held in Gaza has been one of jubilation, even though it was 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. People descended on Hostage Square. They've been popping champagne. We've seen tears of joy. However, from the overall umbrella group that represents the family members of the hostages, they have been a bit more reserved. They've said that they are receiving the news with a mix of excitement, anticipation, and concern, and that their struggle will not end until the last hostage returns.
After that ceasefire came into effect on Friday, Palestinians began heading back north towards Gaza City, which had been the site of intense military occupation in recent weeks. The ceasefire marks a significant milestone in the pursuit of peace in the Middle East, but questions remain over who will govern the enclave in the years ahead. Donald Trump has not won the coveted Nobel Peace Prize. The U.S. leader had hoped to win the prize for his efforts to defuse global conflicts. The annual award has gone to Venezuelan democracy activist Maria Corina Machado. FSN's Nick Harper reports from Washington.
Well, not the result that Donald Trump wanted, but the February 1st nomination deadline worked against him. That was just a week and a half into his second term, at a time when just one congresswoman had put in a nomination for the US president, despite many world leaders in recent months coming forward to saying that the US president should be recognized. Maria Corina Machado has been a long-time opposition figure in Venezuela. She was barred from running against the president, Nicolas Maduro, in the last election.
Nearly 22,000 people fled their homes in northern Mozambique in a single week last month due to a resurgence in fighting across Cabo Delgado, the UN Refugee Agency has warned. FSN's Isaac Lucando reports.
The UN Refugee Agency says the late September surge in displacement marks a turning point in Mozambique's conflict, now in its 8th year, with more than 100,000 people uprooted in 2025. The violence in Cabo Delgado, which began in 2017, has grown into a complex crisis, worsened by cyclones, floods and drought. All 17 districts have now been affected, displacing more than 1.3 million people. The agency warns families are reaching their limit as civilians face killings, abductions, sexual violence, and forced child recruitment.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 is the phone number you can call to get in on the conversation with us. Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear like t-shirts and hoodies are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus, you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. That's LibertyMinded.com. With you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Riley,
and Angelo.
Speaking of LibertyMinded.com, I'm wearing my Free Talk Live hoodie.
Nice. I have the same one.
I gotta get some swag. You guys go up to the big sizes, right? Those real libertarian types.
Let's check on
those bigger sizes.
We have to check LibertyMinded.com later because I've ordered mine like a whole year ago, and before that, I was just wearing a really old one that Ian had.
Yeah, stealing sweatshirts is
it's the girlfriend thing to do.
Yeah, it is the girlfriend thing to do. I think I was just selling everything I own. I don't own anything anymore.
I have also one of the, I don't know how original it is. Like, I just was looking at that light when it went out. That's kind of weird.
Oh, so that light did just go out?
Yeah, it was one behind you, and it was weird that my eyes just kind of rested on it while I was talking, and then it went out. It's weird. You know, I could be looking at anything. Anyways,
look at that one. See if it goes out.
No, I'd be really scared. But so I have one of the, I don't know if it's like one of the first t-shirts Free Talk Live ever sold or anything, but it says taxes are theft, and then it has Free Talk Live on the front. And Mark was fully convinced. He was like, anybody who has any proof, please tell us if you came up with that term before us. And he said somebody did show him where somebody else was saying taxation is theft before then, but he still says like, yeah, but we like completely quote unquote came up with that ourselves. Like, it's not like they were influenced by someone else, but still kind of cool. Like it wasn't like the saying everybody knew it as at that time.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Free Talk Live has been very influential in a lot of ways.
I'm a young lad still in this. I come from this hyper conservative. Well, I wouldn't even say hyper conservative. My grandpa was more of a libertarian, but he just was a boom. You know, he's born in 1931. Watched Fox News. That's what played in my house every day. Like, I read a Bill O'Reilly book in the 4th grade, just because I was interested. In like, why do these people get to tell me what to do? Why is my teacher somehow able to tell me what time I can go to the bathroom at?
Oh, he's part of the silent generation.
Yeah, the silent generation.
Wow, that's crazy.
But like, where does this lady that I don't know, that is not my mom or dad or like my family member, is going to have control over what I do in my day to day? And if I don't listen to her and I just don't show up, then police can show up and hurt my parents for me not wanting to listen to my teacher. And that just didn't make any sense to me. Why? What? Who gives these people the authority? Like, where is this coming from? And then I realized they really don't. It's all a lie. Yeah. It really is just at the threat of violence that we do all of these things. And I figured that out when I was like 11. It really set in.
I wish I'd been smart enough to figure all that out at 11, because I was still trying to be a normie, live by the rules.
Has so much to do with your culture and your family.
Well, I was stuck between these, like in Oregon, everything being so hyper left in the schools, and then everything being so hyper. I mean, my household wasn't. I wouldn't say hyper right either. They're, I guess, more normie right. Me rebelling against the system was saying, "Don't tell me what to do. Like, you guys are all crazy. This is all a lie." You know, like because the West Coast was where all of this woke commie nonsense really kind of took hold in the schools over there. So like for me rebelling was being free thinking and being like, hey, this doesn't seem right. Why are we, like, taxes are theft? Why are we spending all this money in foreign wars and foreign intervention and just stealing from us at the threat of violence? It doesn't make any sense.
In my schools, I started school in Tennessee in, I want to say 2005 or 2006. What the heck? Oh yeah, 2005 or 2006, yes. Because, well, I didn't start school at 5, and I knew that, but for some reason it confused me for a second. But anyways, the thing that they were pushing really heavy then, and lots of other states I think were probably worse, the main thing that they were talking about was mostly global warming. Like, they didn't try to bring up craziness to us. And you know what? It was like 50% black, 50% white, and very few anything else. And we all just had great relationships. I never thought about it being like us versus them with the black girls.
I remember 2008 was like a big thing. Was the first time, maybe because I was a kid, I guess, and I was just growing up. But 2008 felt like illegal immigration was like a hot issue. It was like one of the biggest issues on the table was illegal immigration, and it seemed like it just ramped up from there to 2016 with Trump, and that was the issue, was immigration for that election. It felt like that's what he ran on. Remember the wall, all the memes that came from those first couple interviews
in 2016.
Of Trump being like, we're gonna have a wall, it's gonna be huge, it's gonna be great. And then we're going to make Mexico's going to pay for it, right? So immigration was the largest thing. And I think as soon as you, and at the same time you have like the Trayvon Martin case, Michael Brown, hands up, don't shoot. That's all 2016 era race relations stuff. I think it just deteriorated with over time. I think it has deteriorated. And I think it's definitely manufactured. Mm-hmm. Because they had to manufacture it into identitarian politics after Wall Street. After we bailed the banks out, everybody was like, pause, wait a second. And they totally shifted the narrative from, why did we just spend billions of dollars bailing private corporations out with tax dollars, to, hey, wait a second, don't like this person because of X, right? Yeah. They totally just put all of the money in the media narrative into not talking about how we stole a bunch of money and gave it to corporations, stole it from hardworking Americans and just gave it to CEOs for no product. They didn't buy anything. We just gave it to them for nothing.
Yep. And ruined every older millennials
and Gen Xers
lives
my
at
parents,
that time.
my friends' parents, my parents' lives.
So we have a caller on the line. So I want to go to Skeeter. Skeeter, I actually have a question for you. I know you get to talk about whatever you want, so go ahead after, but when you were a kid in California, I assume? Well, you don't have to tell us where. Did you...
I was in Mexico.
Oh. If that's
like
true, that's
now?
fine. I don't care where you grew up. My question is just, well, I guess if you're in Mexico, it's just so different. What?
He's being creepy.
Did he say don't kill me?
Joking.
No, this is just joking.
Oh.
Okay.
But how were the schools?
my
What were the
attack.
schools like when you were growing up? How did you feel like? What were the vibes?
I feel like if it's in Mexico, it's just going to be so radically different.
I was homeschooled.
Oh, really?
Your whole life? I just feel like we're not going to get a true answer from this dude.
Yeah, probably not.
He probably wasn't homeschooled in
Is that
Mexico.
what I want
or
to talk
whatever he's trying
about?
to say. All right, fine. What do you want to talk about?
Wait. Oh, want to talk about? Is that why you rebelled against the system, dude? Is because your teacher had authority over you?
Yeah, literally, it was just like, why can't I go to the bathroom when I want to? I was like, this is dumb. I don't want to sit here and look at this worksheet about stuff I don't like. I'll do the worksheet, but like, can I just go potty when I need to? Why do I have to go like beg for your permission to walk down the hallway? What is the point of
kids
that?
Should have full decision making power over themselves.
I think in regards of when you want to go potty, yeah. I think a kid should be able to decide when he needs to go to the bathroom and if he wants to walk down the hallway and use the toilet. I think that's a totally normal reaction.
When there's an active shooter and the kid's a retard and he wants to use the bathroom, but there's an active shooter, you don't think the authority. Also, like he might be misbehaving. I mean, so here's your problem, boy.
But that's the thing. You're pointing out like outliers. It's like the exception proves the rule type of things.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, but you're trying to make it like
his general
when
rule
it's black or white instead of like it's obviously not black or white. Yes, it's possible that a kid is just like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Okay, again and again, and then I never have to be in class. And then they could be easily be. Not punished, but like, all right, we're gonna have to take away privileges.
If you abuse the privilege, eventually it gets you lose it. But just having to ask a dictator for permission to go to the bathroom is nuts.
It is, absolutely.
No, but you don't own the school. You're on school grounds.
I'm forced to go to the school grounds at the.
I thought that we all own everything, Skeeter. I thought everything that's government owned is actually completely owned by Angelo because.
Yeah, and when we co-own things. We
he
have
just
to
said he
make
doesn't
group
own it. But
decisions.
before you said co-ownership meant he absolutely does own it. So you're just
if
wrong.
I can prove that me going to the bathroom would help me be more productive, then I could just go.
And it's true.
There you go.
It could.
That's where authority comes from. Objective value.
No.
Objective value.
So, but then how is my teacher
Hold on,
wrong?
I'm not done yet. Damn, huh? They can be wrong too. So someone who is better at measuring objective value should override her. But that is to be determined and punished by evolution.
But that's not a human being. There's no evolution that can just punish somebody or tell somebody. Actually, this is the right thing in this very specific instance. So
hold
stupid.
on. I'm trying to get to my point, right?
Yeah, but you can't. You have to answer questions about the things you already said.
So no, you're interrupting me. Here's the chain of logic.
No,
right?
I didn't interrupt
Authority
you. No,
comes from-
seriously, I'm not going to take calls from you anymore if that's how we talk. Like, it's not a conversation. Every time Skeeter calls in, it's like he'll just say something absolutely ridiculous. He thinks no one else should be allowed to say anything, and then he's just going to like keep talking without answering questions.
Well, no,
I didn't interrupt him in the middle of
even
what he said.
Let me use Skeeter's logic just to finish it off. Like even so, if who can measure my productiveness on if I need to go to the bathroom and I'm more focused on going to the bathroom than doing my schoolwork, wouldn't the evolution of me using the bathroom too much? Wouldn't evolution in theory that I miss so much school time from going to the bathroom too much that I don't end up making money on the back end as an adult? Like I didn't learn enough. Wouldn't that be my own fault?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it should be your decision. And the other thing is like we could be going to these schools that aren't government owned where when your parents sign you up, you agree to the rules, and the rules are like, listen, if you're going to the bathroom so much that the teacher can make the case that it's affecting your grade, then you don't get to go to school anymore, or you don't get these other privileges. There could be privileges like beanbag corner time, reading a book, and you don't get it today because your grades are too low. Like there's so many easy ways. Like it's just so stupid the way he likes to think of the world as like this black and white thing, and also it's just impossible to say, well, evolution will make the right decision every time. It's like, why do bad things happen then, Skeeter? So stupid.
Yeah, it was like I'm sitting on their property. I was brought to their property under the threat of violence. I didn't want to be there. What? You know?
And that contradicts every time he says, well, you own every public property because it's co-owned. And then we try to say like, oh yeah, well if I own it, then why can't I go paint it a different color? And then he's like freaks out, but it's like, well, just stop saying I own it because I clearly don't own it. And if you can make this whole thing like, well, it's not your school, you shouldn't be allowed to go down the hallway to pee, as if it's like it's your own body.
Yeah. Do you want me to do it just right there in the classroom and distract everybody else's time from it? You know, like just
yeah.
That's just a non. At least you guys understand my point, where it's like, where does this the authority doesn't come from evolution? How is my teacher more evolved? Like, and then her boss somehow having the ability to quantify my productivity if my bladder's fuller or not?
Exactly.
That's nuts. That's just nuts.
And then he talks about this whole idea of objective value. No, value is not objective. It's subjective.
In third grade, my friend had all kinds of problems. Like she would have seizures and she had migraines and stuff like that. And that was my friend, but her younger sister had similar problems. And she got moved into a different class and everything because her crazy teacher wouldn't let her ask to go to the nurse as many times as she actually needed to. At one point she suspected she was just doing it for attention or whatever, and her mom came and chewed out the whole school and because she wasn't lying, she had to go to the nurse to take her meds, or maybe it was something else, she wanted to go call her mom and ask her to bring her home, but the teacher denied it all day, so she was suffering in class all day. It's just insane. I hate it.
Yeah, that teachers can have that kind of power.
And that one, her name's Miss Walker. Everybody who went to Minglewood Elementary School in Tennessee.
Minglewood?
Yeah. They will agree that Miss Walker was terrifying, and she was just 10-year-old crazy woman who you could hear her screaming at her class all the time. And every other third grade teacher was awesome, and then you have Miss Walker. It's crazy.
See, my third grade teacher was a super old lady named Mrs. Throne, and she was the sweetest, coolest old lady. Just very patient, very, very kind.
Sit on a throne, was it spelled like that?
Yeah, THRONE.
Huh. I never heard that last name.
But she was.
I instantly thought throne. I was like, what?
No, like sitting on a throne, and she was just a super wonderful, quiet, mousy woman. But
I was trying to remember sorry, that used to be slang for something. I feel like it didn't live long because it's kind of stupid.
A throne?
No. We're gonna get thrown tonight, meaning getting really drunk. It's so dumb.
I haven't heard thrown. I've heard trashed, thrashed.
Yeah.
Swasted.
Yeah, it definitely was a thing. It just took me a really long time. And it's
Folded.
not quickly popping up
Plastered.
on my phone. Oh,
Kegged. Tanked.
There was this joke where somebody was a stand-up guy where he was talking about all the different ways to say drunk or super high or whatever. And he was
Blitzed.
tricking people. He would just start making things up. And I always remember one he made up was car parked. He was like, I was freaking car parked last night, bro. And then other people just start saying it too.
Honestly, dude, I would use that. Honestly, you could say it because he was like, I couldn't drive, dude. My car was parked. I was car parked,
Yeah,
dude.
you
I had to
could.
sleep in the car.
Oh, yeah.
I was so messed up. I was car parked, bro. I'm sorry. I couldn't make it.
Or you could say you're car parked if you're so high on something that you couldn't, you melted into the couch.
Couch locked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
car parked. Beep beep. And you're just stuck in the couch. Going. What's the Herbie? Is that the name of the car that's alive?
Oh, yes. Herbie fully loaded. Yeah.
Yeah, going Herbie. Going car parked.
I don't know why that one's just always funny. I almost always think it was real for a second too, and I'm like, no, that's the fake one. Yeah. Anyways, and one time I looked up what do other languages call getting high, because I just thought about what does it even mean to get high? That your thoughts are higher level thoughts, more abstract maybe that's what it is. But the one I liked the most was in Spanish. What they say translates to thundered.
I like that.
Yeah, we're gonna go get thundered, bro.
I think that's awesome.
That makes it sound way cooler.
It does.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Makes it almost sound like, yeah, man, thundered. That sounds sick.
It sounds so much
as
fun.
a guy, it sounds sick.
Oh yeah.
It makes me think of heavy metal swords, lightning.
Oh yeah.
Let's get thundered.
Are you still wondering what the ICE people are saying about kidnapping this boy?
I mean, we might as well finish the story.
Yeah, let people know since we
teased it all night.
it. But I do want to say that if you want to call in 603-283-6160, please call in with scary stories because it's October. I got people to do it before, and that was really fun in my opinion. There was somebody that called in and told their scary story of working in a hospital. but I don't remember exactly what happened in it. But yeah, it's just always so fun. Or UFOs, whatever you want to talk about.
Bigfoot, cryptids.
If you want to be anonymous, just let us know. It's fine. Anyways, so that's 603-283-6160. But in the beginning of the show, we were talking about this story from Fox26Houston.com where this 15-year-old boy with autism went missing, and then the cops found him and said he's safe, and I can't remember their name. It was because it didn't say what it stood for, but a group in Houston that advocates for
immigrant rights or immigrant
civil rights. FIEL. It says that they learned that law enforcement agency had found the teen and he had been in ICE custody at a Houston area detention center since Monday. But the thing is, and he's reportedly okay, and they were still working to get him out of custody. But the thing is, ICE says that didn't happen, so that's so weird. Says the other side. An ICE spokesperson sent the following statement to Fox 26. On October 5th, the Houston Police Department contacted ICE about a minor they had picked up who claimed to be homeless and from another country. Oh yeah, the 15-year-old just told you they were homeless because they wanted to go to ICE detention. Yeah, sure, that's what they said. ICE worked with HPD, Houston Police Department, I guess, to see if they could identify the minor or if any of the minor's family members living in the or identify any of the minor's family members living in the U.S. When no family could be identified, ICE helped Houston Police Department place the minor with the Department of Health and Human Services Office of Refugee Resettlement. At no point was the minor in ICE custody. For additional information, please contact blah, blah, blah. Since the boy is not a U.S. citizen, Child Protective Services is not able to assist. That's why authorities had to work with ORR to find a safe shelter for the boy until he could be reconnected with his family. Sounds like they probably lied saying that the little boy said he was homeless. Yeah, because he just wandered away from
Or maybe his family's homeless? Maybe his family's like homeless and that's what they're selling fruits on the street. It didn't say they
Most
had
people
like a
sell
place.
fruit in like.
Well, I'm not saying
South.
that they are homeless, but they could be. Maybe
Yeah, but
they
why
are
would he
hard
just
up.
instead of being like, well, my mom was 20 feet away, just let me go? Why would he say I'm homeless? Yeah, I don't have anything else to tell you. Or maybe he was like really
Or maybe
scared
he's
to
like
say.
he's autistic. He's
Well,
disabled,
also-
so he's just like, I don't have a house right now.
I could
And
also
he's
see
just
him being
like, he
scared to
doesn't
say
know.
any info about his parents. if
That's
they're
true,
illegal.
true, and he's probably. I don't know. I feel bad for the kid.
Yeah, this
I
is
do
really
too.
weird.
I think there's so much to this story we don't know because the media reports.
And we'll never know.
Yeah.
It's just another.
And because government lying.
Yep.
Government lying, and it's just another sensationalized clickbait. Well, not clickbait, but it's just another sensationalized headline. Because I mean, there's probably 15-year-old citizens that are being abused right now that aren't getting headlines like this. You know, like kids who are getting ripped away from their families by Child Protective Services and getting trafficked into horrible situations. And
Yeah.
they're not getting headlines. You know, so.
Yeah, but I really think that a lot of that is literal child trafficking. And I mean, obviously it's child trafficking just by definition, but I also think it's child trafficking like they'll just take them and put them in whatever freak house they want.
Do you know about like the orphan trains?
Yeah, like in the 1800s.
And the baby incubators where they were giving away babies at the World's Fair.
Yeah, and that's when the Cabbage Patch theory came about because
and
people
kids
were actually
just
buying babies.
appearing.
I kind of wish that life was like that. You could
You know,
just
Jerry
go and buy
Seinfeld
a
said
baby.
his like seriously in one of his interviews, his dad was supposedly a Cabbage Patch Kid that his
Whoa.
grandparents went and picked up.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And he was like, "No, I'm serious."
You
Like,
could order them in catalogs and stuff.
Yeah, and so it's like, where are they coming from? What?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
In the orphanage trains, if somebody doesn't know what what we're talking about is, so like people like the Odd Fellows were a really big one. They would go to poor people in like the Great Depression and before then in like the 1800s.
It was like 1860s to the 1930s.
I guess Oddfellows probably different ones than the Great Depression, but it also happened then. And they would actually tell their parents that were super poor and like living, trying to make a living, and they have a bunch of kids because, well, there's no birth control. Hey, we'll give your kids a really good life. They'll live in the orphanage and they'll get like paid for if they work and stuff. You know, like they'd sell the parents a good idea, and they really believe that they might be doing the right thing. It's not that they were just, people were evil back then and just were like, yeah, give me some money for my kids. And then it ended up they would get crammed into trains, and it was actually really horrible living conditions. And it's not like the parents ever had to hear back about it ever again.
And you know what they had on a lot of those ads? Storks.
Huh, creepy.
Like printed in the newspapers on those ads where you can like buy children, buy a baby. There'd be a stork, like pictures of storks on So, there's a whole lot of questions about like all of that stuff, like where all those kids went. Supposedly they built a giant, like a castle-sized orphanage in LA when there's only 10,000 people living there.
Whoa. So weird.
Why would you build a giant orphanage? You can find pictures of it. It's like it looks like a castle. They tore it down in the 50s.
Whoa.
But they built a huge, like, castle-like structure in LA. And I think it was 1890 was when it was opened. Mm-hmm. And the census in 1880, Los Angeles was 10,000 people. So in 10 years,
Oh, we're going to run out of time. I want to say one I found that was crazy in Utah was that the city of, I think it was Orem, had like 100 people in it when they say that they built one of the biggest Mormon temples in all of Utah. Was one of the first ones Orem?
No, the first one was actually in St. George.
Well, not like the first one, but is Orem like pretty early? Because I could be wrong about the exact name. I know I'd remember if it was St. George, so... But either way, like, they built something way too big for the population, is what they claim. Okay. And in my opinion, I feel like some of these things the pioneers or whatever rolled up on.
Interesting.
They're just there. Because, a lot of things they say people built in the early 1800s, like asylums and stuff like that, it just would take way more time than they claim it took, stuff like that. And then the whole idea of, like, what's the reason for such a giant orphanage when it could be spent on anything else? 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up.
Free Talk Live.
You've got to give those guys credit, though. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, they've established this for themselves. And who are the Hispanic leaders? Who are the Chinese leaders? It's a brilliant marketing plan on their part to get them radio interviews and all kinds of appearances and sell books for them. But otherwise, that's really all it is for them.
Right, and then when you call them out exactly what you said, if you are a black person, you are supposed to get upset when they tell you to get upset. Me and a lot of other people who are black, we've grown up. I'm 55 going on 56. I don't see color. I see people. I see behavior. I see morals. I see values. I don't see the color of a person's skin. That does not dictate how I should interact with that person. Their behavior, their morals and values dictate how I interact with them.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern at freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. Donald Trump announced the first phase of a Gaza peace deal had been agreed. The U.S. president said all the hostages held by Hamas would be released within days. Many Palestinian prisoners held in Israel would also be released, and Israel would withdraw troops to an agreed line in Gaza. FSN's correspondent Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
The reaction amongst the family members of the hostages held in Gaza has been one of jubilation, even though it was 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. People descended on Hostage Square. They've been popping champagne. We've seen tears of joy. However, from the overall umbrella group that represents the family members of the hostages, they have been a bit more reserved. They've said that they are receiving the news with a mix of excitement, anticipation, and concern, and that their struggle will not end until the last hostage returns.
After that ceasefire came into effect on Friday, Palestinians began heading back north towards Gaza City, which had been the site of intense military occupation in recent weeks. The ceasefire marks a significant milestone in the pursuit of peace in the Middle East, but questions remain over who will govern the enclave in the years ahead. Donald Trump has not won the coveted Nobel Peace Prize. The U.S. leader had hoped to win the prize for his efforts to defuse global conflicts. The annual award has gone to Venezuelan democracy activist Maria Corina Machado. FSN's Nick Harper reports from Washington.
Well, not the result that Donald Trump wanted, but the February 1st nomination deadline worked against him. That was just a week and a half into his second term, at a time when just one congresswoman had put in a nomination for the US president, despite many world leaders in recent months coming forward to saying that the US president should be recognized. Maria Corina Machado has been a long-time opposition figure in Venezuela. She was barred from running against the president, Nicolas Maduro, in the last election.
Nearly 22,000 people fled their homes in northern Mozambique in a single week last month due to a resurgence in fighting across Cabo Delgado, the UN Refugee Agency has warned. FSN's Isaac Lucando reports.
The UN Refugee Agency says the late September surge in displacement marks a turning point in Mozambique's conflict, now in its 8th year, with more than 100,000 people uprooted in 2025. The violence in Cabo Delgado, which began in 2017, has grown into a complex crisis, worsened by cyclones, floods and drought. All 17 districts have now been affected, displacing more than 1.3 million people. The agency warns families are reaching their limit as civilians face killings, abductions, sexual violence, and forced child recruitment.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. The leaders of the UK and India hailed a new chapter in economic ties as British Prime Minister Keir Starmer wrapped up a 2-day visit to Mumbai, where he met his counterpart Narendra Modi for bilateral talks. The two countries announced plans to strengthen their investment, defense, and technology ties after signing a landmark trade agreement in July. FSN's Rebecca Bunden reports from Mumbai.
Keir Starmer brought with him more than 100 leaders of businesses, entrepreneurs, cultural institutions and universities. So this just goes to show how significant this is as the two countries really look to capitalise on that trade agreement. And they did make a number of announcements. This includes a major defence deal, with Britain saying that it has signed a contract for the Indian Army to purchase or to be supplied with lightweight missiles from the UK. This is a contract that's worth some $468 million. There were also agreements announced in terms of technology.
France's Prime Minister resigned after just 1 month in office. Sébastien Lecornu handed in his notice on Monday to the president. He was appointed to the position on the 9th of September after the previous premier was ousted by Parliament. For the latest on the deepening political crisis in France, here's Ross Cullen in Paris.
France has been plunged again into political uncertainty with the shock resignation of Sébastien Lecornu. Under the threat of yet another no-confidence vote, he submitted his resignation to the President Emmanuel Macron, who accepted it. The president must now either appoint his third Prime Minister of the year or call new snap elections or himself step down.
But the saga didn't end there. On Friday, in a risky move, President Macron reappointed Lecornu as the Prime Minister. Those were some of the week's top stories. Ira Spitzer reporting.
The Subway restaurant chain has reacted with shock this week after executives discovered that many customers are apparently purchasing footlong sandwiches and eating the entire 12 inches by themselves. A spokesperson for the company addressed reporters this morning.
This is not how our products are intended to be consumed. Our footlong subs have always been meant to be shared among 2 or more friends. Eating an entire foot of food shouldn't be possible for most people, but they've been doing it somehow, and it needs to stop.
To encourage healthier eating habits, Subway is clarifying its marketing, adjusting language on menus and in television commercials like this one.
$5 footlongs? Wow, that's $2.50 per person.
Subway's corporate leadership says they were horrified to learn of the misunderstanding.
It's frightening. I mean, you don't see people eating entire pizzas by themselves. We even cut the footlongs in half into 2 regular-sized sandwiches before handing them to you. But I guess that wasn't clear enough.
This is the Onion News Network.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 to bring up whatever is on your mind. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Riley, and Angelo.
And you can call in and bring up whatever's on your mind. I think it's been pretty obvious with all the different calls we've had tonight. You could talk about anything. Uber George talked about somebody hitting his car and how his insurance reacted to that. And then we just talked about that for like a whole entire segment.
Again, this is the second segment we've done with Uber George talking about insurance.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot to complain about that.
You know, it's
stuff,
interesting that as a blind person, I don't have to deal with this, but, you know, maybe I'll marry a sighted woman and she'll have to deal with it, so I'll have to...
I almost thought you said marry a side woman.
Marry a side woman.
And maybe I'll marry one of my side chicks. And
exactly.
She'll have to deal with that. No, but it took me a second. My brain caught up and you said a sighted woman. Yeah.
No, I was saying I want to get an extra long stick for Riley so he can hang it out the window in front of the car.
Yeah.
And try to drive down the street.
I had a t-shirt at one point that had a guide dog on it out a car window, and this person holding on to it, and it had in text that had designated driver on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
I like your shirt that says the worst thing to read in Braille, do not touch.
Yes, it's pretty funny.
It's awesome.
That's a good one.
It's really funny. They should sell it on libertyminded.com.
Exactly. libertyminded.com.
So in the last segment, we started talking about different, like history is a lie things. And first of all, I wanted to say, like, my theory on why these things happen, or these weird things in, like, especially the 1800s happened, is that they took kids away from their parents so that would be easier to lie about the past. Because it's like, if nothing happened in the very far past, like we're told, everybody's like, well, how would they lie to everyone on the planet about it? So that way everybody, first of all, there could have been like actual floods and comets hitting the earth and stuff like that killed a lot of people. But then if you take a bunch of kids away from their parents, then you could tell them anything you want about the history. So.
Well, that's also a theory of like why we took so you have the orphan trains during the 1800s, but at the same time you're taking all of the native children away from their families.
Oh yeah, that's such a good point.
And you're erasing all of that spoken history that's now gone, that talked about how this land was before we got here. So now all of that is gone. That's all gone.
And I know when the colonists got here, at least in the 1800s, like early 1800s, there were mounds built by Native Americans.
There still are mounds.
Yeah, in the New York area and that area of the world that have been kind of destroyed a little bit here and there.
There's stone structures. When according to the scientists, that the Native Americans of that region did not have the capability to build stone structures of that magnitude.
Yeah.
But they have stone hills in Kentucky and places like New York, and there's just things that have been built, or like in Arizona, they have that entire village that's into the cliff. Do you know about that place?
Yeah, there's
like that's
one
up on the side of the mountain.
There's one in New Mexico as well.
Is it New Mexico? It might be New Mexico. I'm thinking of, but it's like a whole like village carved into the side of the cliffs, and it's like, how do people even get up there?
Yeah, it's crazy, and there are some things that have slipped through the cracks where some people still have some crazy things that they claim about the past that are Native people. And one thing that is like one of the creepiest is ant people. I think it's the Hopis that talk about that.
Mine's the red-haired giants.
Yeah, that's very creepy too.
In Nevada, I went to that cave actually.
It was all over the U.S. The Smithsonian would go to any place that like a newspaper put out, like, man dug up giant skeleton with red hair, and the Smithsonian would be like, oh, we'll take this for you, and then they would hid them.
Well, like there's a specific Native American story of it's in Nevada outside of Reno, and it's a cave where supposedly these red-haired cannibalistic giants lived, and they would come down and massacre the Native American peoples until eventually the Native Americans banded together and went to war with the giants and drove them into that cave and ended up finishing it. So I drove up there and checked it out one time just to.
Did you go in the cave?
Oh yeah. It was a lot of. I mean, I didn't see anything.
Is it huge?
Yeah, it's a pretty big cave. Like you could totally have like a clan of people living in there.
A
around,
clan of
like
giants?
Maybe, yeah. It was a huge cave. I mean, way bigger than the studio. Probably like 4 or 5, 6 of the studios put together. Like it was a huge cave, right? Super tall.
Wow.
Super wide. You can't go all the way down into like the bottom. There's like a viewing platform where you can't get all the way down to the ground because it's still considered like an archaeological site or whatever. They don't want you messing with the dirt at the bottom.
That's pretty cool. Never heard of this one.
Yeah. I guess there's a lot of stories. Well, the natives out there, they're the last ones. Like I talk about Captain Jack on here sometimes, like in Tule Lake, in those lava tubes. I mean, those are the last natives to fall to the federal government, right? So they're the closest. That only happened 100 years ago. Like 1910, 1911 was when they hung Captain Jack. So those are the stories from those people are the closest we could get to like actually talking to them, because by that point, all the East Coast tribes have been eradicated, like almost completely.
I wanted to know when Riley said the thing about the mounds, I was like, are there a bunch of mounds that we don't know of? Because the immediate ones I think of are Ohio. But are there a bunch that were just destroyed by the settlers or whatever?
It probably could be.
It's not just the settlers, but it says a lot were destroyed by agriculture, urban development, and looting. And this is kind of interesting when you read the urban development part. It says the University of Wisconsin-Madison destroyed 3 of 5 mounds on Observatory Hill to enlarge its campus.
Wow.
Then at one site in St. Paul, Minnesota, 34 of 39 burial mounds were destroyed for farming and construction. In Oxford, Alabama, a 1,500-year-old mound was partially demolished for a taxpayer-funded economic development project before protests forced the city to back down. But, like, that's crazy. Part of that college is just, yeah, we're going to get rid of these stupid mounds that are in our way.
Yeah, they might not even thought about it. I mean, what year did they do that? Or did they care? You know, they were probably just like, get these dead bodies out of here.
That says 1900 and 1922 for the
Well, the mounds are different. Burial mounds could just be earthen mounds. Sure. But I'm speaking of like stone structure.
Oh, yeah, but the mounds are usually, they're earthen mounds, but they are so... there's things about them like the ones in Ohio where they align with the stars and all this stuff that they still say that
like
the natives shouldn't have been able to do.
Like a crop circle.
Yeah.
And Mormons will claim that, Book of Mormon peoples are the mound builders. So I don't know. It's interesting.
I always forget that the Mormons say that like Jesus came to North America and that the end of the world's going to happen when the Native Americans stand up and kill everyone.
I don't know if they're.
I mean, they really want to. They've been raging for a minute. I don't know.
Is that not right, Riley?
I don't think that's entirely true that the Native Americans are going to rise up and kill the Americans, but Jesus. It's been said that Jesus did come to America, and that there will come a time when the Gentiles, as we're called, will reject the gospel, and then the Native Americans will take it or whatever. I don't know.
Gentiles. A crazy word.
It is a
if
crazy
you break
word.
it down, because it's gent, gene, gin, genie, giant, giant child. You're the child of giants. You're the Nephilim children. You're a Gentile.
Yeah.
You're not one of the pure humans of the tribe of Judah. You're a Gentile. You're a giant child. You're a child of the Nephilim. Isn't that a crazy? Think about that for a second. How
really
that
crazy.
word breaks down.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about that one because usually when I see GEN, I think generate.
Yeah, but we just say gen, but it's like gen, it's
origin of that one.
Well, gen is the demon, is the word for demon.
Yeah, but that's spelled
Arabic.
different. It's J.
It's DJ.
Oh yeah, DJ.
DJ.
But there's also a thing called like green language, so I can see where you're coming from because green language is like, well, money is like the one I, even though the EY doesn't literally spell I, but it's like it's like the idea gets in your head enough to where it's like they sold you the idea that money, which wasn't really a word that was around.
Mammon is the deity to money. That's the patron demon of money is mammon. Of like being addicted to riches.
Well, there's a bunch of different green language, and I honestly think that Jesus, the English, we use the Greek translation for Jesus is G, which is what the Masons and everybody call God, which means the generative principle. So that's why I was just like, kind of like, why would Gentiles be that? But anyways, G is us. I think that they're saying God is us, which Jesus said.
Yeah.
Well, there is a caller on the line, so I'm going to go see what's on their mind. Sarah in New Mexico, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Oh, yes. That Uber guy was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah. I mean, poor guy. I always feel so sorry for the Uber drivers. And you guys were talking about a lot of the insurance rates and driving and people running stop signs. And I wanted to bring up that our speeding cameras a campaign issue for the mayor's race now.
Really?
So our current, So there's people that say that want to vote for them because they're promising to take the speeding cameras down, which is I'm not surprised. So our current mayor Keller, he likes the speeding cameras. So there's 3, all the other cameras, there's one, Darren, right? He says that he's going to get rid of all of the speeding cameras. And then there's the 2 other ones that wants to put the cameras only on like high traffic roads. And I don't know, they're just kind of flaking out. They're backing away from the speed cameras because they want to get the votes and they think it's going to turn off the voters if they're for the speeding cameras. And I kind of wonder if that really is true, you know?
Yeah, well, most people drive, so most people hate speeding cameras, especially in a western state like New Mexico. People rely on their cars to get anywhere. There's no walking infrastructure. So, I mean, most people probably dislike the speeding cameras, especially if it's set at some bogus, like, you're going to get a ticket if you're going 6 over. That would enrage me.
Yeah, that would enrage me.
Well, it's set at 10 miles per over.
Even that's still crazy. That's still crazy. If it's 65 on an interstate and I'm going 75 and I get a flash speeding ticket on an interstate for going 10 over,
I'm constantly going like 55 where it says 45 on this one road when I drive to go visit Ian because it doesn't make sense to go that slow. And every time somebody's in front of me like, nope, I'm going the exact speed limit, I pass them as soon as I can and then they'll be pissed. You can tell. It's so annoying. Anyways, it's like if it's safe to go 10 over, it's safe to go 10 over. So ridiculous.
Well, see, I'm in favor of our current mayor because of the speeding cameras. That's my big important thing. But like you guys are saying, most people drive, most people have cars, and they don't like tickets.
And then that's democracy manifest. That is the system at work. Most of the people don't want them, so they're going to vote, which you're so keen on these out-of-state students voting. I mean, what if they vote against the cameras? Because they also have cars, and they want to go fast on the weekends. So, like, that's just that's democracy manifest. You ask these people to vote, and they're voting, and that's what's going to happen. The people are going to take them down.
Well, the whole thing is that our Keller is getting like 27%. He's got the highest polling. They like poll 500 people that vote constantly all the time. So out of those people, he's getting 27. And Darren Ryan, he wants to get rid of all the speeding cameras. He's polling at 13 points.
Oh, so you're saying right now the people who want to keep the red lights are winning?
Well, I mean, not the red light, speeding cameras. But they're looking at Keller as the whole mayor. I mean, just speeding cameras are only one part of running a city. You know, they're looking at other things that they like about Keller, like AC Albuquerque Community Service. They built a new homeless shelter, but he's getting like almost like 27% of the rating. So I don't know how much of the speeders speeding cameras are going to hurt his campaign, like people claim.
How are you going to feel if the college students that you asked to vote, they go vote for the new guy?
Well, you know what? I don't know about these college students. What I run into is that, no, I want to vote in my state. I hear that. It's like, I'm not going to give up voting in my state to vote here. They're very, very attached to where they're from, which is to my amazement. You know what I mean?
Why? Well, but people aren't even, the people who live in New Mexico aren't attached to New Mexico. New Mexico has a horrible problem of their youth fleeing the state. I see billboards driving through New Mexico saying we need to help keep students here, help keep kids in New Mexico to help with the economy because it's so bad that people are running. Like, that's an issue for New Mexico.
What is it? They get the grants, scholarships, all that education here, and once they get trained, it's like the police. We train them, and they do 10 years, and then they always go to some place where they pay them more money. Since they have the education, somebody wants to hire them and pay them like $20,000-$30,000 more, and they're gone. Boom. All of the good, highly skilled, educated people are the best cops. They all go to other states.
And you're always bragging about how New Mexico votes Democrat, so maybe that's what this leads to.
Yeah, why are they leaving? Why would they leave if New Mexico's so great? What's the issue? Like, apparently something's wrong in New Mexico to where
and if
you guys
New Mexico's
can't hold on to
young people,
or like not even. I mean, you're probably hanging on to young people that are stuck there, but anybody with a means and an ability to get out does.
And Sarah's also always saying that she moved to New Mexico because she figured it was the most communist state, and well, I guess people want to leave the most communist state, so
communism fails every time.
The most brightest, the most educated, they have talent. They're recruited. They'll pay them more, way more, and give them a better life than other states. So they get all of our education from.
It's just making a point.
And then they leave because they are like you said, they have opportunities. They can leave. Like you were saying, if they're stuck here because nobody wants them there anyways. But if they're really talented, they have education, they're smart, they're gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take my engineering talents to a city where I can drive 10 over.
Well, but
that's what because people still want to live their lives outside of work. So if you build a place that has limited opportunity and then just also constrains your movement, nobody wants to be there. You're gonna up and leave.
And Sarah, let's take this to a real conversation about communism. I remember when we asked you how are people who are working as a doctor doing lots of work going to feel when somebody making resin art and is making the same amount of money as the next person, and you said, oh, well, they'll all just do it for the good of humanity, for the greater good.
Well, yes. The thing is, if you are born and raised in a communist country, you get indoctrinated that your talent belongs to the community. There's many people, whether you're a school teacher or a nurse or fire people, they feel like their talent belongs to the community here anyways in a capitalist society. So if you were to say that everybody gets paid the same, but it's okay because your talent, your skill belongs to the people, your community.
Well, what if somebody's smart enough to break out of that mind control that they were raised in, and they realize if they swim to America, they can make more money? It seems that
you kill that person.
Yeah, exactly. In the communist,
you kill that person, and you don't let them go to America.
The wreckers.
You cannot leave the state if you figure out that you could get more somewhere else for your talents. You cannot leave. They won't let you leave.
That's why they have to swim away in Cuba.
Well, I don't know about how many people are escaping. But I think if you're in a communist country, you don't think about that. I get paid the same as a trash picker or a school teacher because I'm using my life and talent for the community. That's just it. The children are taught to share at early age. They're not taught to be thinking about themselves, how much money they make. By hurting others like that, that's kind of thought process is not
The
indoctrinated.
problem, though, Sarah, is people flee these societies because they want to feel like they're valued, and if your talent belongs to a community,
like New Mexico.
Yeah, no one's going to value your talent if everyone gets to steal your talent from you. It's just absurd.
If you work crazy hours because you have to do a surgery on someone and you literally can't stop till it's done, and you get paid the same amount of money as a school teacher, you're gonna regret it, or not regret it, be angry about it deep down inside, whether you it
whether
won't
you
matter how
acknowledge it
you
or
were,
not, it'll be implicit.
Oh yeah,
and they'll probably acknowledge it deep down inside, and there's no amount of like brainwashing that will make you not be able to see that. And besides, what's going to happen is the people that are the most important and stuff like doctors, stuff like that, they're just going to decide to do like, well, I'm just going to slack off because I get paid the same amount as the next person. It's so ridiculous. Anyways, Sarah, anything else you want to say about all of that?
Well, I just want to mention that the whole speeding, I think the whole speeding thing is not going to make a difference because this election is more than just about speeding cameras. It's not just like a one issue. So I have a feeling our mayor is going to win and win the runoff,
Well, you just follow the money. You see how much money other people are spending. You'll pretty much figure out who wins.
Well, we have another caller on the line. Thank you for the call, Sarah. We have Paul in Florida. I think in Florida, I could be wrong about that. I guessed that last time you called. Paul, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hi, Bonnie. This is I'm in Arizona, actually.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Anyway, I listened to the beginning of the show and then had to step away, but I noticed you were talking about the Nobel Prize at one point. My observation on that is that if Yasser Arafat can get a Peace Prize, if Barack Obama can get a Peace Prize, if Gorbachev can get a Peace Prize, if Donald Trump can actually pull off this peace deal and end the Gaza war, I think that qualifies him for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh, wow. Is that really possibly about to happen?
Yeah, they're pushing it through right now.
I think they've already awarded the Peace Prize to somebody else.
Or are you talking about the ending the war in Gaza? Yeah, they figured that out.
Yeah,
they're pulling troops out.
Well, I guess I did see this, not The Onion, or maybe it's Babylon Bee headline that said Hitler ends the Israeli war.
Oh yeah,
which is kind of funny. Man. But I didn't realize that that's being talked about. I guess I'm honestly kind of staying
That's
on
all
the news.
he wants. He's been hounding that Nobel Peace Prize. It's just he's been gunning for it.
If you have more you want to say about it, Paul, sorry for answering right at the end. We have more coming up. 603-283-6160. Is Trump really going to end the war in Gaza, or did he? Let's talk about it. Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up.
Hey, you are going to love the movie Victimless Crime Spree. It's hilarious, heartwarming, and carries a ton of inspiring freedom messages. Feeling down about the lack of liberty in your life? You need to put on this film with some friends and have a good laugh. It's a true story about me and my friends in New Hampshire living free, singing, dancing, and getting arrested. Of course, it's all on video, and the bad guys, the cops, judges, bailiffs, and sheriffs, they all play their part like it's out of a movie or something. You would think we scripted the whole thing, but it's real life. Go ahead and have a watch, and if it's been a while, have another look. I guarantee you'll notice things now that you didn't notice before. And the best part is that you're going to walk away feeling a renewed sense of your own power. You are the master of your destiny, and you will be free in your lifetime. Victimless Crime Spree.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. Donald Trump announced the first phase of a Gaza peace deal had been agreed. The U.S. president said all the hostages held by Hamas would be released within days. Many Palestinian prisoners held in Israel would also be released, and Israel would withdraw troops to an agreed line in Gaza. FSN's correspondent Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
The reaction amongst the family members of the hostages held in Gaza has been one of jubilation, even though it was 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. People descended on Hostage Square. They've been popping champagne. We've seen tears of joy. However, from the overall umbrella group that represents the family members of the hostages, they have been a bit more reserved. They've said that they are receiving the news with a mix of excitement, anticipation, and concern, and that their struggle will not end until the last hostage returns.
After that ceasefire came into effect on Friday, Palestinians began heading back north towards Gaza City, which had been the site of intense military occupation in recent weeks. The ceasefire marks a significant milestone in the pursuit of peace in the Middle East, but questions remain over who will govern the enclave in the years ahead. Donald Trump has not won the coveted Nobel Peace Prize. The U.S. leader had hoped to win the prize for his efforts to defuse global conflicts. The annual award has gone to Venezuelan democracy activist Maria Corina Machado. FSN's Nick Harper reports from Washington.
Well, not the result that Donald Trump wanted, but the February 1st nomination deadline worked against him. That was just a week and a half into his second term, at a time when just one congresswoman had put in a nomination for the US president, despite many world leaders in recent months coming forward to saying that the US president should be recognized. Maria Corina Machado has been a long-time opposition figure in Venezuela. She was barred from running against the president, Nicolas Maduro, in the last election.
Nearly 22,000 people fled their homes in northern Mozambique in a single week last month due to a resurgence in fighting across Cabo Delgado, the UN Refugee Agency has warned. FSN's Isaac Lucando reports.
The UN Refugee Agency says the late September surge in displacement marks a turning point in Mozambique's conflict, now in its 8th year, with more than 100,000 people uprooted in 2025. The violence in Cabo Delgado, which began in 2017, has grown into a complex crisis, worsened by cyclones, floods and drought. All 17 districts have now been affected, displacing more than 1.3 million people. The agency warns families are reaching their limit as civilians face killings, abductions, sexual violence, and forced child recruitment.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN.
You can help spread the ideas of liberty with our Patreon for just $5 per month at amps.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. 603-283-6160. It's the last segment of the show, so get in now with your calls. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Riley,
and Angelo.
And we do already have a caller on the line. In the last segment, we were talking about the idea that Trump may get this peace deal done with Israel.
I think it's done. I think it's signed. They're already moving troops away.
Is that what you heard, Paul, from Arizona?
Yes, I'm here.
Is that what you heard, that Trump already got the deal done?
Well, yeah. The last I heard was that they were waiting for Hamas to sign off on it. But I've been away from. I'm not one of these people that stares at his phone 24/7. So
yeah.
Something may have occurred between now and then and now. But I'm really hoping
this says it did get done.
That it goes well. I'm really happy to. I hope that's true.
Yeah.
Because I think this is kind of like the last gasp for the Palestinians. I mean, if Hamas will finally let them have a peaceful, have a peaceful Gaza for a change, that would be great.
Be super
for
locked
everybody.
down and they've always been like locked down people where they are not allowed to, like, because of Israel will keep them unable to like move wherever they want to move and stuff like that. And like what was it, like 80% of their men have been to prison at any point in time.
Well, part of the problem is that the fact that Israel's neighbors have pretty much been on record as saying, we want you all to die.
Oh, okay? Yeah, they won't take any. Yeah.
That kind of puts a different spin on things.
Yeah.
In 2005, Israel left Gaza Okay, and at that point, Hamas had been elected and they were promising the people that, oh yeah, we're going to be better than that Palestinian Authority, and you're in good hands with us. But as soon as the Israelis left, what they did is they took as many resources they could possibly get and starting a war with Israel. So if Gaza under Hamas had continued to do what they promised to do, which is, support the people, build infrastructure, have their own water treatment and power facilities so they wouldn't be dependent on Israel to supply all that stuff for them, and then became a peaceful neighbor to Israel, they would have had a Mediterranean, paradise like Lebanon was, 20 or 30 years ago. But no, they decided to use all the resources to attack Israel. So Israel, in self-defense, said, "Well, look, we got to lock you guys down because you're launching attacks at us." Okay, and then of course Israel is the bad guy, because hey, we don't want to get murdered, So excuse me, but I really hope this peace holds because, I think once you lose a war, you have to surrender and go, okay, look. Okay, let's have a negotiation and figure out how to work things out so we can peacefully coexist from here on. I mean, the Japanese did it, the Germans did it. Okay,
the one thing I have to say
did it.
About the whole thing with Hamas that you were saying just now is like, well, Hamas, it's a known fact that it was created by the CIA in Israel. So it feels like it's something. I'm not one of those people who's all like, oh, I want to go hug a Palestinian. Like, I feel like their culture probably really sucks, and a lot of them support Hamas, which is so dumb. But I do think that it's a kind of like I don't want to overuse the word psyop, but if you gave somebody a hero and said, here's your hero and the answer to all your problems, and you were able to control them, and then you attacked your own country because you control that quote-unquote hero, and then you say, well, now we're going to lock down Gaza because you guys are attacking us, and in fact we're going to basically do 13 Hiroshimas on equivalent in bombs on Gaza. That's not exactly self-defense that Israel will be doing.
Well, if you look back, and I mean, there's a lot more history going on, and there's a whole bunch of levels and nuances that's available to understand what's been going on on there. So,
like what? Like, are you saying that Hamas was not created by Israel?
Well, Hamas at one point, Hamas was supported by Israel because one of the defense tactics you can use against an enemy is to get them fighting amongst each other. Okay, I mean, if you don't want to just shoot them outright, I mean, Israel had the capability to just carpet bomb the whole place and not send one soldier in, but that's not right. Okay, they put their own soldiers at risk going in house to house trying to find the Hamas fighters. They wouldn't have done that had they just been completely evil monsters and go, well, all these Palestinians just need to die. They could have done that in 2 weeks. But that's not what Israel's about. But they're kind of caught in the middle of trying to do the right thing and yet still survive. So there's a lot of nuance that's worth listening to. There's a podcast called Martyr Made by Daryl Cooper. Now he's certainly no Israel apologist, but he produced this thing called Fear and Loathing in the New Jerusalem. It's on a podcast called Martyr Made. In fact, he's got several feeds now, so you have to pick the one that's got that on it. But it's like 24 hours worth of background material, and it's you can't just sum this whole thing up in 90 seconds and go, well, here's what the problem is. It's like everybody and their brother has been screwing around over there. The French, the English, the Arabs, it's really a tangle. And what we can do is step back from the brink and go, okay, let's stop shooting people, okay, and let's stop kidnapping people. I mean, this is the thing that really bugs me is the fact that I don't understand who takes hostages other than bank robbers and terrorists. Okay, I don't know of anyone else who takes hostages.
Knights all the time in medieval Europe.
Governments.
Well,
actually, yeah, governments would ransom. They'd ransom knights off back to the government. They'd be like, "Oh, is this your boy?"
Okay, we're talking medieval. Let's.
Oh well, I mean that's what's happened. That's a government. That's a government kidnapping another person and saying, "Hey, give us money and we'll give this person."
Riley's is definitely modern.
Oh yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, okay? There's a long list of things that Israel has been doing over the last 50 or 70 years that people look askance at and go, well, they shouldn't have been doing that, and they shouldn't have been doing that, and they shouldn't have been doing that. It says, okay. And 90% of that, I would probably agree. Yeah, that was, that doesn't look, that's not the best thing. But the point is, name another country that has been founded within the last 250 years that has not done any of those things. Okay.
Well, that's why we're against governments equally instead of having favorite governments and thinking this government deserves to proliferate when it's like maybe it doesn't.
Well, I agree with you that governments are problematic from the beginning. I like the idea of having a society that's not based on coercion and violence. Mm-hmm. So, I'll agree I'm with you on that. But since we have governments, okay, we need to be able to make the best out of it and treat things fairly. But I just think it's interesting that anything that you accuse Israel of doing, the United States has done in spades. I mean, talk about a bunch of colonizers. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, at least Israel can show, hey, the Jews were there for thousands of years. Okay, a lot of them left in the meantime, and then they came back in the 20th century. But you can't make that case about America. So my question is why is one tiny little country on the planet being held up to a standard that no other nation has to stand up to? There's a lot of other much more serious violence going on all over the world. I mean, the news thing had this thing going on in Mozambique, for God's sakes, okay? And nobody's losing their I won't say that, losing their S over that because there's no Jews involved. That's why. And there's probably no white people involved either. So, who cares about all those folks over there in Mozambique? Well, I care, okay? But the point is that, we're spending all this time talking about this one little country in one part of the world.
Well, it's this one little country that we send billions and billions and billions of dollars to.
That's a good point.
We don't spend the same amount of money in Mozambique that we do in Israel. We don't fund free healthcare in Mozambique like we do in Israel. Like we're talking about it because that's where our money goes. We're spending money there.
That's a valid point. And in fact, Ron Paul a few years back got in all kinds of trouble by saying that, well, we should stop funding Israel.
And he's right.
But
we should stop funding everybody. It's not just because they're Jews.
They stopped there. He kept going. The rest of the sentence was, and we should stop funding Israel's enemies.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And a lot of people in Israel said, we'll take that deal. Stop funding our enemies. We'll go it alone. But unfortunately, that hasn't happened yet. So anyway, I just wanted to put in a good word for peace. And I'm hoping, that sanity will prevail for a while until things cool down. And when people get used to not, having people shooting over there and the hostages come back. Okay. And I think it's kind of interesting that Hamas demands there's 20 living people left in Gaza, okay, that were taken hostage. Oh. But yet they demand hundreds, if not thousands, of people in exchange. It's like, what's up with that? If they give up 20 people, Israel should give up 20 people. I mean, this just goes to show the imbalance of this whole thing. Wow. Anyway, I won't go on any further, but I just appreciate you guys, keeping on the air. And, my heart goes out to you, Bonnie, and to Ian. And I'm hoping that at some point in the near future we can have a breakthrough and get him the heck out of there. So, because I mean, he's even more innocent than oh, come on, dude.
The idea or the Israels. Wait, is that what we're
No, well, no. The guy who did get pardoned.
Ross?
Yeah, Ross Ulbricht was innocent. I'm not trying to cast any shade on him.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think Israel is even. I think Ian is even more deserving of a pardon.
Thank you.
So.
I really like that idea, and I do hope that maybe because news came out that Roger Ver made a deal with. I was going to say a deal with the devil. That makes it sound like he did something wrong. I think he didn't do anything wrong, but he may have struck a deal with the U.S.
Which is dealing with the devil anyway.
Yep, but it wasn't his fault. At least, they came and tried to basically take him to prison forever, and he may just be able to get out of it with paying $48 million is what the New York Times reported. So I really hope that officially gets released soon, and then he gets to go back to where, his life is normal.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, me too. And besides, then the next thing we can do is that band of terrorists in the Internal Revenue Service.
Yes. All right, thank you so much for the call, Paul. And 603-283-6160 is the phone number, 603-283-6160. And I'm really glad that he brought up the fact that a ceasefire was finalized. I'm looking at this headline, it kind of messed me up. So it says, Trump achieved a breakthrough Gaza ceasefire, but a tough road lies ahead. And this is from PBS.org, and it says, Israel and Hamas have accepted the first part of a peace agreement that calls for the return of all living Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and Israel's military to begin to withdraw from most of Gaza. The deal also calls for the surging of humanitarian aid to Gaza's population of nearly 2 million Palestinians. Seems like a lot of people.
Well, I think it just comes back to like what Paul was saying. But if you look at the last 20 years, sure. But if you look at the past 80, like Israel was founded on terrorists. It was Jewish people raiding the Arabs and doing car bombs and doing terroristic stuff in Palestine at the behest of the British. I mean, that's how the whole state was founded, was off a bunch of terrorists blowing up people
to get the Israeli state in general.
Yeah. So I mean, like you're just and 80 years.
The history is fake.
That's one person. That's one person. That's a one person's lifetime. So like you're not talking about ancient history, like how I was bringing up knights, or whatever. You're talking about the past 80 years. The Israeli government came about from being terrorists. I mean, our government did too. Really.
Killing the natives, yeah.
Well, us rebelling against the crown too. We were terrorists to King George.
We were.
They weren't letting people be free who had perfectly good grievances. They were not.
No, for sure, but they were still terrorists.
I don't think you can call self-defense terrorism.
Well, that's what Hamas says too.
If you're gonna say I'm here in Boston,
if you win, you're a revolutionary.
No, it's not just that. It's that if you are an oppressive government cop standing in Boston and you don't think you're gonna get shot because you are like, I'm doing anything the crown says I can do, then you might get shot. You see what I'm saying? I don't think that makes somebody a terrorist. If you're actually making somebody else's quality of life worse than it has to be just because I'm following that's a terrorist act. A cops pulling people over for going 1 mile over the speed limit is a terrorist act, in my opinion. Because it's about what you're doing to like scare people into submission instead of leave me alone. Because if they sent over their papers saying we want to be free, if they were like, okay, then we withdraw, then they wouldn't have just killed people. They weren't just like, oh, you know what we like killing people the same blood as ours who live in England.
But the Gazans were like, what are you doing here? Get out. And the Israelis were like, nah, fam, we're here now. So
yeah, I'm not talking about Israel. I was just I was only defending the revolutionaries of America. Sorry. I'm a little
just
sick.
The American Revolution?
Yeah, that's what I was defending against, being called terrorists.
Well, would it not just be that anybody who wants to have, if enough people agree that they should govern themselves, shouldn't they be allowed to excise themselves from the group and govern themselves?
Yeah, that's what I believe.
Well, exactly. Well, the Gazans want to govern themselves. So, I don't know. Are they terrorists? Are they freedom fighters?
But the thing is, I know that there are definitely some gray area that he was pointing out. I just had multiple things he was saying that I also wanted to push back on. But like, for example, you could say, oh, they just want to. But the thing is, like, it's all so muddied by the fact that Israel, even if they didn't create Hamas like broke off from the Muslim Brotherhood allegedly. Let's say that Israel and CIA didn't create it. They like took it over and used it. So it doesn't really matter. It's like the same thing. But
well, yeah, we didn't create Al Qaeda. We just gave them a bunch of money and weapons to fight the Russians in the 80s, and then they decided to turn them on us. And then suddenly they were the bad guys. They went from being warriors of freedom defending against communism to the bad guy.
But one thing I could say for Israel's defense is that, like, it's like you could say that, oh, they just want to roll themselves, but they don't stay to that. They like also do terroristic acts. You know, it's like if we were like, hey, we want to be free in America, and England left, and then we went and started bombing England. You know, like I feel like that's different.
So
I feel like that'd be more like what Gaza does every once
in a
while.
But the Israel doesn't really leave them alone. They bully them. They shoot their kids. They harass them at checkpoints. They restrict their commerce. They don't let them. The laws of Palestine, the laws of Israel go over the Palestinians, but the Palestinians can't vote in Israeli elections.
And it really sucks that they aren't free to go anywhere they want. Like,
the freedom restricted of movement, no free commerce, because it's all IDF checkpoints.
And a lot of that is Israel's fault, but also, as Paul pointed out, it's also the neighboring governments. Like, you really are going to tell someone that they can't just go live in the Egyptian countryside if they can feed themselves?
Country's problems too.
Yep.
I don't know.
It's a crazy tangled web.
It's almost like there are no good guys. Wow.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's just a love of
there
power.
There are no good guys in this battle. I don't know who the good guys and the bad guys are.
I don't think they ever existed.
It's the people, the regular people who aren't doing this crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the good guys. You don't know their names because they loved their families and did the right thing and didn't chase power.
A really cool thing happened on Twitter where this girl who's apparently Russian American posted this picture that went way viral. It got a lot of hate too, which is ridiculous. And she just said, "As a Russian, I want Russia and America and America to be friends." So a bunch of people were reposting that. As an American, I want Russia and America to be friends. And I think that's a great thing that we need to focus on right now, because I really think they're going to make us they have in store for us, oh, Russia is crazy now, and they bombed us, and that's what happened, and now we all need to get digital ID because, well,
the 1980s called. They want their foreign policy back.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that Trump literally said, oh, in a couple days I'd have that war over. He didn't. And then on top of that, now he's
doubled down with Zelensky.
Yeah. And he called Russia paper tiger. It's like, oh my God, America's paper tiger.
Russia's one of the last. It all comes back to Russia's one of the last biggest countries between them and China that aren't under U.S. hegemony. So that means they're the enemy. They are the other power, and that's just what happens when rival empires clash.
And another
you
thing
have to create propaganda to justify your actions.
They just like to have war in general because it gives them more power in general, and I really think
it demoralizes the regular person.
And I really think that Russia is the perfect enemy because they're so far away. Most of us will never go there, and most of us have this like question mark in our head about like what is it even like in Russia?
Well, because we don't know post-communist. After we have this picture of Soviet Russia still so fresh in our brains. But I mean, the Soviet Union's been collapsed for 40, 50 years now.
Their government and our governments keep it that way a lot too, because like it's not as bad as like Israel, but like they keep you from watching American news there, and RT
vice versa.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys remember, but in 2012, Mitt Romney said that Russia would be a great threat, but then Barack Obama said, oh, the 1980s called. They want their foreign policy back. So,
whoa.
And now the Democrats are blaming Russia.
Well, it was 2016. Russia.
Yep.
Russia. Apparently, the person, Donald Trump, who wants to double down on war with Russia, who was somehow put in by Russia in 2016. He's a Russian plant, remember? Don't forget.
Yeah.
Trump's a Russian plant that's now going to war with Russia because that's what Vladimir Putin wants is to...
Maybe that's why they recently put in the news like, oh, we found out that the Russiagate thing was a hoax. Russiagate was a hoax. So now they can pivot to he's actually not Russian Manchurian candidate. Actually,
yeah,
he doesn't like Russia and we should all go to war with him. It's crazy.
I think we're marching towards some type of major conflict. I hope we take an exit ramp, but I have a feeling in the pit of my stomach that we're not, and I think we're going to see major conflicts. If not directly involving U.S. troops, we're going to be spending a lot more money than we already are.
One thing I wanted to read a little bit more about what this peace deal doesn't include. It says, yet other crucial steps remain to be finalized, including the disarmament of Hamas fighters, the insertion of an international stabilizing force to Gaza.
The UN Blue Helmets?
I don't know. That's crazy.
Whoa, hold on, Alex
Whoa.
Jones. Alex Jones is right, Jar, but for Israel, question mark, they're just going to move in. Maybe it's the test run for when we start our civil war.
Whoa.
And they'll have to send in a international stabilizing force into the United States.
Whoa. It's creepy. It says, and the establishment of new structures for a Palestinian state, not including Hamas. I'm sorry, I'm really sick. It's like the last minute, so.
Anyways, I guess I can carry. It just sounds like so it doesn't they haven't decided to disarm Hamas, but whatever governing system they're going to have in place is supposed to exclude Hamas. Then they're just going to they're going to go underground and then bomb Israel again in another 3 years when BB gets enough money into their bank accounts to justify an attack. I mean, it's the same concept as like the child who is rejected by the tribe will burn it down to feel warmth, right? So you're gonna exclude these people from the decision making, and they're gonna resent it, and then they're gonna harbor.
Or a new CIA group emerges.
Or a new CIA group. Like, ISIS has never attacked Israel once, supposedly being the caliphate and supposed to replace the caliphate. They never attacked Israel once. There's never been an ISIS attack on Israel soil ever.
That's interesting.
That's really weird. Well, freetalklive.com for more. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your calls. Definitely call with spooky stories tomorrow. 603-283-6160. And good night and peace.
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. Tired of the ever-inflating US dollar? You can live your life on Dash instead with some handy websites. Bitrefill.com